What's going on? Welcome to Reality NSFW. We're talking Survivor Season 41, and this is the Deep Dive Podcast. I am your host, Lauren Pratt. Joined with me, as always, my co-host, the great Alex Rubino. And today, we are joined by someone that I desperately wanted to come on this podcast, and I'm super excited to talk to. Definitely one of my favorite players from their season. Aww. It is the great Lyrsa Torres from David Goliath. Lyrsa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're awesome. Nice. Super excited to have you. I mean, listen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, when we created a list of people we wanted to get on, you were at the top of mine. So I'm stoked you're here.
Nice. We both had you at the top of our list. Let's get that straight. Lauren wants to be the Lyrsa superfan, and you want to let you have that title for today, but I am not far behind, if behind at all.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. All right. So I feel like we start this episode on a segment that I think right now may seem like it means nothing. But if Evie goes on to win this game, I think the beginning of this episode, this whole episode, I think you can point to as Evie's shining moment. So we get back from Tribal after Sydney was voted out. Evie barely survives. And Evie goes on, as she calls it, the relationship recovery tour, basically being the odd one out. Lyrsa, what do you think of Evie and her positioning so far?
I mean, before the episode, I was very concerned and worried about her because she's my number one along with Ricard. I know we are paired because they're like playing different games.
But you gotta support the gays.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I always feel for my people, and I want them to get as far as they can. So yeah, I felt that she was a little bit in trouble and then recover on that recovery tour, if we can say so.
Yeah, I feel like Evie is just, at that tipping point where everything is working out for the time being. But if there comes a time where Evie's not safe, I am very, very concerned for Evie's position in this game.
Yeah, she's playing really, really well, and people are very scared of them. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully, she'll make it really, really far. But if definitely people are scared of them if they don't win a lot or are in like the lucky side of the numbers, yeah, I see them getting into trouble.
I think the whole Yasa 3 really breaking up this episode, I think, helps Evie, and I also think Evie winning immunity obviously helps them out a lot. And I think Evie is the player who has shown us how capable she is of, I would say, also getting into situations that are, but also getting out of them.
Yeah.
And my worry is how long can she keep this magic trick of sorts up? Like how many rabbits can she pull out of the hat? But I definitely think they can pull a lot of them, and yeah, I'm not ruling out Evie as a winner contender yet. I know a lot of people are and saying that they're dead in the water. I don't see it. Watch out for Evie is all I can say.
Yeah, they're getting a great edit, almost like a winner's edit. So we'll see what happens.
I agree. I think my biggest concern is Evie didn't really know necessarily who anyone was voting for coming into this tribal council. And I do think this next round could be very crucial for Evie's game. If Evie's able to get in good with a couple people here and there, make it through a couple of rounds, sneak through, I think Evie could be a very strong contender because, in my personal opinion, if Evie gets to the end, Evie will be able to sell what Evie did in the game.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. She has like a really good case throughout whatever has happened up until now to definitely put up her case, get some votes.
My only concern with Evie is if they keep the same jury format, if Evie pisses a lot of people off and they're bitter, I think Evie's weak positioning is when she's being pushed almost into a corner of things she knows she did wrong, like with Deshawn saying, "Hey, you told me that Xander was going home." When she was questioned about that, I didn't really love her response in the previous episode. Like, yeah, but I'm still with you. And my only concern is if she maybe makes too many enemies, I'm worried about how she would respond in a tribal council being ganged up on. I hope that doesn't happen. But other than that, I think Evie would be in a great position to win if they can make it that far.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Who do you think, Lyrsa, should Evie try and seek out in these next couple rounds to try and align with?
I think that she should start working with a little bit with Shan, because she definitely has a lot of power in this game. I'm very surprised how people give her everything, like all the immunities, like give it to me and I'll save it. And people are like so willing. She has this power of like convincing people. So I think that she should, in the meantime, try to like sneak in a little bit into that group and until she can, and then definitely try to seek some other help. Also, I think that she should work with Ricard on a separate, even though Shannon and Ricard are working together. I think that relationship will break up really soon because they're like doing stuff to each other, like they're not consulting and stuff. So I think that it's gonna like be a little bit damaged, and that will be a great opportunity for Evie to insert themselves in any of those groups.
I think Shan's a very interesting point. But on the flip side of the equation, before we get there, who do you think Evie should try to target? I get they're not in a position of power right now, so they can't do too much in terms of pushing a name one way or another. But who do you think they should be worried about and trying to target?
Well, forward in the game, definitely Shan. But right now, I think that she should possibly Nasir and Erica. I think that although they have been like steady, I think that she should try and at least put some attention into them, because they're like flying like really under the radar, except for that Erica matching the hourglass. But then everything is going backwards for her. Like she lost playing in the game, and then Sander like gave her his spot, and then missed that clue that we all knew it was gonna. I mean, I knew it was gonna be there, because this is like going back to when Michaela was sitting there and didn't see it, and then Sarah saw it. So I was like, this is like so obvious, dude. Like, find it. It's gonna be there.
I think it was the same challenge event.
It was something similar. I think it was something similar, if not the same. They probably had like some twist.
Oh, they had they did have a balance beam in.
Yeah,
because that was the Suri moment, but it was
Yeah,
almost
that's
identical.
Suri that couldn't go through it.
Yeah.
But I think that definitely she should target people that are going like maybe under the radar a little bit and
Ooh.
divert that, because they're like, getting over there. So I think that she should do that right now.
It's funny you mention Erica, because I have to say, I think Erica is definitely under the radar at the moment. And if Erica sneaks through a couple more votes, I could see Erica going very deep within this game, because her name was only really mentioned right when they were all together as the big group. And now we're just seeing Erica's, still don't even know necessarily who Erica's aligned with. I have no idea who Erica's number one is in the game. We know none of that information, which tells me that Erica is probably going to be someone that could be potentially dragged along a little bit longer and utilized for a vote.
Yeah, possibly. I see that too.
One thing I want to posit is almost the flip side of this. What do you think of Evie trying to team up with the people who are under the radar, who don't really seem like they have tight allies in Heather, with maybe Nasir, with Erica, and maybe try to form a coalition and bring in Xander maybe with that too. And right there is half the group. Evie, I think that going that way could put Evie at the top of the situation, give them, I think, a stronghold if the move works. I think it's risky for sure, but I think going after somebody like Deshawn, whose name has already been out there, who now doesn't have any advantages, I think could be good. And I think maybe, just maybe, if you get Shan at the right moment, you could convince Shan, hey, he doesn't get along with you, and we see in the next episode they may like have some argument that it might be worth it to cut our losses. And I also think Deshawn also said, I'm not working with any of the Yasa 3. So he's not working with Evie. He's not working with Tiffany's gone. He's not working with Xander. So I think Evie at least can almost know that, hey, there's no shot of Deshawn working with me after I blew up, after I told him about Xander. And I think the longer Deshawn's in the game, the more trouble that causes for Evie with Xander and in general, because I think Deshawn is onto her. But I am. It would be a tough move because I think Deshawn's in a decently good position. But I do think it'd be a really game-changing move, and I think could set up Evie to win.
Yeah, I never thought of her aligning with these people that we have no idea who are they working or that they are at the bottom of the alliance. Was because I feel like Nasir, even though he has an advantage, he's not the top number
No,
one
not at
of
all.
a lot of people. And same with Erica, we don't know who she's working with except for the her previous group. So that could be a good move.
Yeah.
It could be a good move to like advance her game and at least keep her over there longer in case something happens later. Hopefully not.
Can we touch on this conversation though between Deshawn and Evie? Because in my opinion, I thought that the conversation should have gone much better than it did. Because Deshawn seemed really upset and saying, "Oh, they're trying to like get back in my good graces." But I'm sitting here saying, "You also voted for Evie." So Evie, yes, put your name down, but you also put Evie's name down. And so that's where I'm sitting there saying, all right, why can you not just come back together and say, we both voted for each other because our backs were against the wall. And that's literally basically the only option we had. And so Deshawn being all upset about that, I'm kind of confused because you also put Evie's name down.
It doesn't matter because as me being already in that position, once somebody writes your name down, it doesn't matter what they do, it's always going to be in the back of your head. So I understand Deshawn that it's and I understand Evie was like more cool, like everybody voted for me, so and I still have to work with them, but I feel like Deshawn doesn't want to work with anybody that put his name down. But that's what the game is about, right? And we all get upset, believe me, and some people still hold grudges about many seasons behind, right? And that happened many years ago, which I'm very surprised, and I'm not gonna say names.
Oh, spill that tea.
You're
Come
not going to
on.
spill the tea to us. This is
Come on.
NSFW. I mean,
there's still people very mad at me, and I know this. They have never said that, but I know that there's people that still
They're not going to
hate
listen to
me.
this. Come on.
Oh no, they're definitely not. But they don't. I don't think that they listen to anything anymore.
Then
But there were some
say it.
people. No,
Come
'cause I'm like,
on.
no.
Maybe
Don't
later
be.
on. Maybe we'll
But
work
from
on that.
previous season, I know there's some tea still like going on, and people still mad for things that happened 10 years ago. So this is very recent for the show. So I really understand that he's still upset, and he is like actively in the game upset about it.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting is if Deshawn said that to Erica and Heather of, yeah, I'm never trusting the three of them, I think that's a good move if he didn't really mean it. I think because to them, it's like, yeah, it's almost him saying, I'm more loyal to you than I ever would be to them, which makes sense. And I do think he should keep it in the back of his mind. Yeah, Evie voted for me, and sure, I voted for her. Although, like, you want to just deflect the attention away from you and be like, you know what? No, I didn't do anything wrong. Evie voted for me. I'm not trusting them. But I do think him working together with Evie would be so beneficial to his game because Evie is the type of player who's willing to move past it. Yeah, sure, it's going to be in the back of their head too. And yeah, you can't work with them long term. But I do think they almost need to be each other's life raft, at least for a little bit, and then cut each other loose. But it doesn't seem like Deshawn wants to do that, and it could be his undoing.
That's what you learn to understand once you're out of the game. And then you see all of this and you're like, oh, I should have worked with this person, even though they voted for me. And I have had this conversation with, for example, Natalie, that we didn't want to work with each other. And then when we saw each other at the reunion, we're like, man, we lost like a big opportunity. We at least will have been like longer in the game if we have paired together and like set aside the beef that I voted for you, you voted for me, and all that.
I feel like you get that all the time. I feel like you get that all the time, the what if scenarios, and then you just say, we could have done this, we could have gone really, really far and rewrite history. But yet we're both sitting here out of the game. What the heck is happening? And
I will say this, if I ever play again, I will play with people that really didn't like me. They're really, because nobody will suspect it, right? If you come back, you should like try a different strategy. And maybe the strategy should be like trying to align with people that you didn't get along before. and people will be surprised.
Can they put you and Natalie on a season together, please? For the love of God.
That would be amazing.
Oh,
that would be great.
God.
Like, I don't know, something like hero versus like villains or something like that. But some people have said that I'm a villain. I don't know why. Maybe because I didn't want to give my jacket up, but whatever. But that will be very entertaining, me and Natalie. Especially like, now we get super along. Like, she's one of the few people I talk to most of the time when something happens. Like, I'm very good friends with her now. Once everything like cools down, then you're willing to make friends with other people that you didn't like even thought you would.
You say that now though, but then when you get back on the island, something could happen. You'd be like, ooh,
fuck this shit. No, not working with her. Can't take this shit anymore. Yeah.
Oh my God. I will never forget. I think it was whatever that episode was with you and Natalie. I just will never forget that. There was so much fun. Just that vote, everything, your confessionals back and forth of her telling you to take your purple hair back to Boston.
She always had like really nice lines. I had like funny ones that they never play, which is really sad because I made fun of like everybody on the confessional.
Oh, I bet. Oh,
and when I voted for them, especially like, oh my God, I
get me the archives, Mark Burnett.
The when we voted out Jessica, she couldn't stop talking about fucking Chipotle. And I said that go back home and eat your Chipotle now. And they didn't play that shit. And the beef was between us on that episode. So I don't know why they didn't play that shit.
Oh my God.
You brought the sass in the confessionals. It was great. I loved it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I like all the gif out of it because they're like funny, so I can like resend them.
And there's so much that we missed, clearly. I mean,
But, oh yeah, you miss a lot of things.
Oh, I could tell.
A lot of
I do have to ask, what is one thing from your season that wasn't shown that you wish would have been?
Oh my God, that I was telling them everything that was happening all the time. I knew everything that was going on. I knew Davey had the idol. Nobody believed me. I knew that the hurricanes were coming because I'm from Puerto Rico and we get hurricanes all the fucking time, every single year. And they wouldn't believe anything. So it would have been like hilarious for me to say like, oh, a hurricane is coming. They're like, no, it's not coming. And then suddenly like all the craziness going on.
Lyrsa, if you won the game, every bit of that would have been in there.
Oh, definitely.
It would have been like Sandra and Heroes versus Villains. Everyone was like, you know, we should have listened to Sandra. You were right about everything. That would have been you, and it would have been glorious. But instead, we got what we got.
I know you got some stuff. Apparently, I was very funny at my confessionals, like in general, and I was like very funny as per the crew. I don't know if everybody in the cast will think that, but I think that
if they don't, they're idiots. If they don't, they're idiots. I'm sorry. You were hilarious. Even if they don't like you, they have to admit that you're funny. Like, come on now, that's indisputable.
There's people that will never do that.
Oh, I know, but they're just in denial. They're still at the first stage of the 5 stages of grief. It's simple as that. I don't know what they're grieving over.
That's why you're a big get on podcasts too, because you're hilarious and you bring a lot to the table, and everyone wants to know your perspective.
I just wanted a conversation with Lyrsa. That's all I wanted because I knew I'd be laughing for like 2 hours, and I'm already there.
Thank you.
All right.
And I haven't started to like say crazy shit yet, so.
I got all the. Listen, I don't know about Lauren. I got all night. I could talk to you all night, like literally all night. I had nothing better to do with my life.
All night.
I'll do it. I'll do it next time. And then I just got to get to Boston at some point. We gotta get dinner, and I'll just
come visit, man. If you guys come, like I go out with people. If you send me a message and you're in the city, I always do the possible to like meet people and hang out. So.
And now you know we're real. So. Yes. All right. We'll talk dinner plans later. All right. So I do want to talk about the reward challenge just for a little bit.
What a crappy reward. Sorry. What a crappy reward. Fucking grilled cheese. I was watching it with a big group of people and I was hoping for the pizza because Brett has said before,
oh my God,
and he has tweeted before that the Ponderosa pizza is awful. And I'm here to clarify that it's not. It is good. I don't know if he was waiting for like Regina's Pizza from Boston or something like that. But
that's my favorite pizza place ever, by the way.
I've never been.
Regina's. I love it in Boston. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I
there's
guess.
a few. It's kind of like a chain, so there's a couple of them around. And I think that's what his reference was in comparison to which pizza.
I think it was a reference to how much he loves New York and everything about New York, especially our pizza. I think that's what he was going for. But oh,
It was good, man. And when you're hungry, that pizza is good. We had one day of pizza over there, and I ate like 7 slices. So it was good. It was good. And I was waiting for pizza, and then they come out like fucking grilled cheese with not even
oh,
bacon in it. Daddy Jeff, what's wrong with you?
Daddy Jeff.
No,
yeah. Oh my god. All
Can
right.
I ask how
no.
long does the food sit out there for, though? Because that's something people always talk about. Is it's sitting out in the sun? How long is it actually there before they get to eat it?
Oh, well, it all depends. None of the challenges that I did, the food was there available to eat right away. But usually once you get back to your camp, it's there, the food, and you can eat right away. When we won the skewers, we got there and they were there, which I was full. I thought they had meat and it was like only fucking vegetables. And I was pretty mad about it, but it was food. And then with the eggs, when we got there, the eggs were there. So once you win, they just ship it out, express mail to
Okay.
your camp.
I have one question. It's a little, I guess, off topic, but when we brought up Natalie, it got me thinking. What was pre-jury Ponderosa like? You got there and you were Natalie. Like, I want to hear all about that. This, if you don't mind going on a little tangent.
No, 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 no. So first of all, I didn't know that, and I have told Natalie several times, and I have apologized. I didn't know that the camera was still running when I said like, "Fuck, I'm gonna be sitting next to Natalie at the reunion," and then I said like the most nice goodbye, saying that I felt proud as a Puerto Rican and a queer person to like got there, like super nice. And they're like, "Oh, that was great." And then I'm waiting for them, like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna be sitting next to Natalie at the reunion," and that's what they use. And I didn't know, and I had to like send a message right away to Natalie because we were already okay, right? And then the thing is that once you start watching your season again and again and again
And
and
again,
again,
and
um,
tomorrow people watch it again and again and again,
and again
literally
and
back on
again,
Netflix every minute.
yeah, you relive everything, right? So we were a really good spot. And then for them to play that shit at the end, I'm like, oh fuck, I cannot like ruin this. We already work on this. So I texted her like, I'm so sorry. Something that they're gonna play at the end. I'm not feeling like that anymore. I love you so much. Please, like, don't be mad at me. But
Did,
going back to Ponderosa, which was your question, Alex. I I thought I was like very apprehensive getting there because I voted for most of the people that were there that we went to tribals. Like I didn't vote Pat out because like he got medevac, but I voted out Jessica and Natalie, and I didn't have any type of relationship with Natalia and B, and I also didn't have a great relationship in the island because of the Jessica and all that. And then I got there and I'm like, oh, these people are gonna fucking hate me. And they were all waiting for me in a table with food because they already were eating and my food was like getting there. And I sat down super tense and I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, how it went? The only person actually that talked to me was Natalie. She
oh,
wanted to know what happened there, and I told her what happened. And then Jeremy was already he already had left Ponderosa because he came back early. He signed up paperwork and he left.
oh, that's why I
Um,
wasn't at the reunion.
yeah, he was not at the reunion because he decided to come back to the States. And if you decide to come back to the States, you have to sign a release and they don't give you anything. I don't know if they give him whatever he made throughout the stage that he got into the game, but he didn't get the reunion money and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, and he didn't got invited. But the only person that talked to me was, and Pat. Pat was very like warm to see me and he hugged me and everything. And Natalie asked me, but the rest of the people didn't ask anything. And they were like, oh, so yeah, we're tired. We're going to go to bed. I'm like, okay, guys. And they left. And it was a very weird 3 days before going to Australia. And then in Australia also it was up and down the whole time. I don't know if because I was longer in the game that they were, or because they already made some connections before I got there, right? Because it's kind of like a game too, right? Once you start getting out, you start making new connections, and if you're the last one to get there, it's like you're the first one voted out, right?
Mhm.
There's nothing you can connect with, or you cause some damage that you can't repair right away. So it was a very weird coming back to Ponderosa.
So
Yeah.
what was the whole pre-jury trip like in Australia? What were like some memories you have from it?
Oh, to be honest, because we're still so recent into the game, I made better friends with the people at the hotel that with the crew. Like I still talk to the people that I met in Australia, and there's some people that I never talked to that were on my season. um so we went to, like, it was so fun because first of all I didn't have to pay for anything, and I never thought I was going to go to Australia, and I ate kangaroo meat, and I also touched a kangaroo, so I didn't eat that one.
Good.
Just if you were wondering, it's not like I went hunting. But it was a nice trip. We saw, like, we went to the beach, and we went to this island that I do a podcast, a horror podcast, and then recently we're watching a movie, and the movie was filmed in one island that we visit and hang out a whole day there. So I'm like, oh my god, I've been to that island. Yeah, I like snorkel with those, like, old boat shit going down there. And they were like, really? I'm like, yeah, I know exactly where they are filming. I know exactly where this movie is. I've been there. So I really want to go back to Australia because I had a really, really fun time. And it's beautiful, and the people were like super nice. The thing is that going to Australia is fucking expensive. So it's fucking and fucking long. Man, it was like, oh, coming back was so bad because we left Australia, like, I think it was like a 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the flight back was like 16 hours.
Ooh.
You can't do anything, and it's not like going over there that it's at night. It's the whole day, right? So it never ends. Once you get to LA, it's like, oh my god, I felt like I was like traveling for days, and I couldn't sleep. And then the stupid person next to me, I was trying to sleep, and he was like blasting music. It was like awful. Coming back was fucking awful. It was one of the worst trip I had. And coming back from Fiji when we went on vacation there after the game, oh, coming back was awful. That trip coming back is awful too. I had an edible. I'm gonna say I had an edible to get on the plane because I'm like, if I'm gonna do this shit, I'm gonna be high as the plane is because I cannot be 16 hours. And then I took way more edibles that I should have taken. And it was also a fucking horrible trip back. I felt I was dying and I couldn't go anywhere. Like, if you guys, this is a recommendation. If you're traveling more than 12 hours, do not eat a bunch of edibles before getting into the plane. It's horrible. It's terrible. The worst idea I have ever found.
So,
I thought
So
you were going
only
to
a
say
few.
that literally it was due to other people's poor etiquette on the flight, but it was because of your own doing.
No, it was me. Coming from Australia, it was a stupid asshole sitting next to me. Coming from Fiji, when I went on vacation, it was all me. All me. I was like just stiff in my chair, and my ex-partner was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Fuck no. I want to die right now, and I don't want to die on a plane because it's going to be awful when we get there." So, yeah, yeah, don't do that, guys.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
so take it
Uh,
from Lyrsa. Word of advice: don't do what she did.
Don't do it. Keep it simple. Just maybe take one of those melatonin pills, and that's it. Don't get too high on a plane for 16 hours.
Good to know. All right. And I love that. Okay, so grilled cheese's reward sucks. I agree with you. I mean, I want some meat after at the point 15 days out there with eating next to nothing.
I will have
But
like the grilled cheese if it had bacon in
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
If it had,
I completely
bacon,
agree
it's
with you.
fine.
But any
So
kind of meat at
protein.
that point. But I also what I found so weird is the way Jeff, when he tells them what the words, he's like grilled cheese back at camp with the weirdest voice and grin on his face that like I've ever seen. I was like, Jeff, have you taken an edible before this challenge? And several of them. I didn't get it. I don't get like what was in him.
I don't know, but he
Oh
said
my
grilled
god,
cheese.
it was so
and
weird.
I thought it was gonna be pizza, and I'm like, pizza? What the fuck? Grilled cheese? And everybody, the people that were sitting next to me were like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh my god, that is awful! Like, I can make a grilled cheese at home. That's like so terrible."
Nasir's 4-year-old daughter can make it for him. I love that.
But you're so hungry that you don't care. I mean, it can be like a grilled cheese that probably is gonna be like freaking cold. It's not gonna be even like melty.
That's what I was saying earlier. That's what I said. Like, how long is it actually sitting out there? Is it actually going to taste good? And yes, of course, it probably tasted good because they are literally starving out there. But I agree with Alex. Jeff was just on a whole nother level with his excitement for the grilled cheese. But at least they got chips with it and something to drink. Yes. What it looked like. I don't know what they had to drink, but they got additional things. If it was just like a small sandwich of a grilled cheese, it would have been like, but the people that lost, they were devastated with not having it. So you know how crucial it was for people to eat.
Yeah. I will ask. I will find out what was like the liquid that they were drinking. What was the drink? Because it looked like beer, but also could look like tea. I don't know.
It looked like apple juice, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It
grilled cheese and apple juice. What a combo. Oh my god.
Well, if it's apple juice, I get it. You're gonna eat the grilled cheese and you're gonna poop yourself out. But if you have apple juice, that will contain you. So maybe that's what they thought. Because
I guess
once you
trying to offset it, you know.
I guess I might like it, but I don't see why a lot of people would.
Can we talk about? Okay, so I want to talk about this situation with Xander's decision.
Yes.
Because the person I actually looked at was Deshawn while Xander was making the choice to swap with Erica. And I thought Deshawn's facial expression was super, super telling because I don't think Deshawn was buying what Xander was doing for a second.
Lauren, before we do that, can I just set up what the teams were? Because I just think this is so interesting.
I didn't about it for a second either.
Yeah. So we had on the stack team, I'm just going to call them the stack team, Ricard, Evie, Danny, Deshawn, and Xander originally.
The Goliath
team. Yes, and then the David team of Nasir, Heather, Tiffany, Liana, and Shan, with Erica once again drawing the gray rock. My gray is the color of the season. That's bad. I don't know why, but it's gray.
She shouldn't go to rocks. Just future.
Oh my god, she's that would be so honestly, that would be so poetic to do that and go home because of it. And I also find interesting that like she did what I would do in a wrong situation. I would ask to go last. I'd be like, all right, let me go last, and I'm going to assume that 10 other people picked the bad one. Nope, they left the only one in there. So she didn't like do anything wrong. But it's just like, come on. And then let's talk about Xander's decision because I agree with you.
That's called karma for smashing that hourglass.
But then, you would have done it though, right?
I would have
an opportunity in your season. You're smashing it.
Totally, I will have smashed.
Production wanted her to smash it. Like, everybody wanted her to smash it.
I will have smashed it, and then probably I will have gone on the great pebble too, and be out of the challenge because that's how it works. You do something, and then it affects the next thing. So,
yeah. Could you imagine though if Erica turned Xander down, thinking Erica could potentially be thinking to herself, there might be some type of advantage at that sit-out bench, and I want to go for it because I don't have anything at this moment. That could have been really interesting to see that kind of work as well.
Oh, that would have been so interesting.
That would have been good, yeah. Regardless, both of them didn't have food at the end, so
yeah.
Well, what I thought was interesting was that when the whole thing happened, I was like, maybe Xander sees the advantage or thinks there's an advantage there and he's going to find it. That was my whole thinking, giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, nope, he just wanted to look like he was a good guy and buy some goodwill with the people who end up losing the challenge. Which
I
I don't think
really
was
thought that too. I really thought that he saw the advantage, or that he knew that it was going to be there, because it's like
Yeah.
a repeat challenge. So you know what happened before. I mean,
He was looking too, but he wasn't looking at the one spot that it's been hidden before. But,
Yeah,
and then he smiled, and I thought, and they didn't like gave a shot of his hand, and he smiled like, oh, he got it, and then he didn't, like, oh fuck.
they kept showing him looking down. They like pointed right at his leg, and I'm like, oh, he has to see it now. Nope. Okay, we're continuing.
I think he was actually definitely looking for something.
Oh, he
It's
was
just-
looking
yeah,
for sure.
just in the wrong spot. At that point, in my honest opinion, at that point, if he's kind of like shuffling around, moving his hands, just look under the damn fucking bench.
You have so many time to move around. Like you can like start like stretching because they're playing, so you can take the time to like deceive other, like, oh, I'm stretching, or like doing push-ups or something, and like move around. And
I don't know.
look
At some point, maybe
everywhere.
just drop your shoe under the bench, and like, oh crap, I have to
Yeah.
go pick it up. Anything. Like, and honestly, if that challenge went by and I didn't have an advantage at the end of it, I would have probably just flipped the table over in front of everybody. Like, where the hell is it? Oh, it's here. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And at least, even if I like don't want to use it, I may just chuck it in the water. Like, it's gone. Nobody can think I have anything. It's gone. Or keep it and say, you know what? I'll deal with the consequences. But
I wouldn't chuck it anywhere. I would keep it. 100%.
I likely wouldn't. But I'd say that's still better than not finding it.
Well,
And
it's going to probably turn up in a future challenge because Jeff picked it up, and I'm assuming we might see it come in next week potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see.
once they don't find it, or they pass by it, they swap it and move it somewhere else.
They're gonna say we don't have enough advantages in the game. Jeff's gonna like stick it like in somebody's hand and say it's yours. We're gonna be at that point. Like, no, please take it. Please take it. Somebody please take the advantage.
I didn't mind all of the advantages until this season. I think there's like too many advantages now, or there were like too many of them. So now I'm getting, and the live tribals all the time. I didn't
the enjoyment.
I didn't mind them, but I feel like recently, recently everybody just waits to tribal to start making moves. Like we have a whole 2 hours possibly before going to tribal, so you can do your move and talk, and then everybody's talking, so it's distracting.
Well, I think Jeff was even in this one asking for them basically to get up and start moving and start talking, because you can tell Jeff loves the live tribals, because even when he says it is time to vote, and then Heather all of a sudden wants to whisper to Tiffany, and Jeff even said, I gave you so much time, you did not take any advantage of it, but it's your tribal, we'll let you talk. I think the moment he says it's time to vote, sorry, we're voting, that's it. You can't start talking to people.
I almost would let him whisper, but I would say, all right, we're still voting. Good luck.
Yeah, once you start voting, like people just get quiet. Yeah. It's very, very rare that people, at least on my season, once we started voting, we didn't say anything. We just whatever happens.
Yeah.
How long does it normally take for you to go up and vote, Jeff to tally the votes, read the votes, and get out of there?
Longer than all of you will expect it. I was talking
with hours.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about that recently. So you get there, and just to like start tribal is like a whole, obviously, production, and it takes time. And then the voting, everybody votes, everybody says their words, and then they disappear to count, and it takes forever.
That's what I heard.
Why will it take I understand that you're accommodating the votes and you're trying to figure out if somebody's going to use something and all that, but it's way too long and nobody talks to you. So you're just sitting there and you can't talk at all. So it's like it takes forever, and you don't have a watch to realize how long is it, but it feels like it's possibly from the last person voting to them counting and coming back maybe 30 minutes.
I love it. All right. There are 3 people voting. All right, let's count. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. What order can we put these in? That even I imagine takes a while. It's like, come on.
Not even on mine. We were just 4 people. 4 people. And it was an easy count. 3 against 1. Come on, guys.
There's no order you can do it in.
Like, nobody had advantages. Like,
it's like,
fucking move it.
Are we going to put Natalie's, Lyrsa's vote first or Angelina? All right. Which way are we going to do this?
I mean, I can't even imagine when they have the merges with 12, 13 people, how long that takes. Because you would just be sitting
Jeff's
there
math
agonizing.
I feel like Jeff just doesn't know how to do math. That's what all I've can think of. All right, Jeff, and
It's
nobody.
just not daddy. There's
All
some
right.
other people with
No,
that it's
I know,
like
I
working
know.
with.
But
Mhm.
hey, if they want, I'll be their mathematician. Okay, I know. I've taken calculus. I think I know it. I think I can count.
You know what's
It's so
funny?
it's
I was
it's
just going to
just
say
so
real
deep.
quick, Lyrsa,
Yeah.
you know what I think is funny though? I want to know, how much do you think people actually second guess whether they should play something or not because it takes so long for Jeff to come back?
Well, if you're playing like your idol after it counts, it's not that. It doesn't take that much time. I feel that it's all the people talking about their vote and like second guessing because like once you get there, you even though you know who you're gonna vote, you start thinking. So it also takes time for it. I was gonna say something and I forgot. Oh, like whatever you see on TV, it's not like I was so dumb on that first challenge because like you see the all
The
the
legacy.
no. Once you start watching the show, right, they show the people doing the dream team doing the challenges, right, for
Oh yeah.
you guys, right? So first challenge, I'm waiting for them to come by and start like doing the challenge, like, and I'm like, but where's the dream team? And they're like, oh, that's just for TV. We're gonna explain it to you, but you're not gonna see how it's played. You can ask as many questions as you have, but nobody's gonna run the course before you so you can see it. I'm like, oh fuck, that's like
Okay.
so boring.
I have one question about your season then. Who was there a person, and if so, who was it, that would just ask like so many questions every single challenge?
That was me. That was
Like, well,
but it was mostly because English is my second language, right? So I wanted to be really sure of what we were supposed to do. Because if you do something that you're not supposed to, then they stop and ask you to go back and do everything again. It happened to me once, right? So every time we ran the course and they explain everything at the end, Jeff always asks, is there any more question? And I was always Heather waiting for it at the end. I'm like, oh wait, I have another question. And he's like, okay, let's explain again. So it was always me double asking everything. Yeah.
What was the longest amount of time it took to like set up one challenge in particular? Was there one where it just took forever for them to get you all in place?
No, that was pretty much quick. The longest that happened was probably that, yeah, the longest challenge that we had, except for the Alec and Christian one that took like 6 hours. And I knew I was in Australia and I knew it was them. Because we get updates, they tell us updates, like they don't tell you what's going on, but more or less like in a shady way, they drop some tea and you figure it out. And once we were like, they told us like, oh, there's not going to be tribal tonight because the challenge took 6 hours. And I'm like, I definitely, that was Christian and Alec for sure. And we're like, no, they weren't. I'm like, yeah, they were. And then we come back home and we watch, and I'm like, fucking told you that it was gonna be fucking them, guys. Not even in Australia, these people will believe me.
okay.
But the longest one was that one that we had to set up the logo of the season, and we had to go back with the rope. That took so long that they stopped the challenge
Damn.
to give us like a break because it was like possibly an hour and we were making no advance at all, and it was probably 105, so it was like fucking hot, and you guys didn't see it, but I had an anxiety attack, a panic attack, and then I was so overheated that they had to pull me out, and they pulled Gabby too and Jessica too. That's why you see that when we keep going, it's different people playing the course because we were like so extenuated that they had to take us out. It was too much.
Wow. That's
Right.
tough.
Okay.
Mhm.
One more Ponderosa question now that you bring that up again. What did you know after after you had finished filming? What did you know about the merge and the jury phase? Like, and what did you know? What didn't you know?
So obviously we knew who was at the merge.
Yeah.
And then with whatever clues and tea they drop, because every day they will give us an update, we try to figure out who was voted out.
Okay.
And most of the time we got it right. Except on that, actually, that Alec Christian situation. But we mostly got it right. They give you updates of what's going on, and they give you clues of like, oh, so somebody got voted out, and they give you like a really random detail, and then you're
Like
trying to
what?
figure out, like, oh, you're not gonna believe who they broke, but there's so many people aligned, and then you start like trying to like count and make numbers, and it's like you never left the game. So at some
Oh
point I
my
told,
god.
yeah, it was getting to me to the level that I didn't care anymore. I'm not there, right? So I really don't want to get more updates. And people were getting all fussy about the updates and talking like bad about other players that were still in the game because they were bitter, right? You're bitter, you're
Yeah.
not there, right? And they were like saying so many shit. And I asked one of the handlers, can you please stop giving us update? It's really bothering me. It's useless right now. We're not there. And people are getting so stupid about it and so angry. And it's like perpetuating the whole frictions that we already have. So let's just stop. And they did stop. And then we were screwed. We didn't know who was at the end.
So
That's good that they listened to you when you asked them to stop, because
that
I
is
can only imagine that it's really difficult to have to hear about an experience that's going on that you're not actually a part of.
Yeah, in the beginning it's fun because you're trying to figure out, but then it gets to the level that people are batching people just because you're not there, or you
Yeah.
didn't like the way they were playing, or you didn't like the way they did to you. So it was getting like stupid. And why would we need all these many updates if we're not there already?
I had
So
figured that like that you at least like maybe got some updates, and then when you came back to Ponderosa at the end of the game for like the finale party, if there is, which I always hear there being one, you would know like, all right, who's the final three and who's likely winning the game. Which, but it's just surprising to me that you didn't know all this. Like they didn't tell you all this, but
no, they they don't tell you by name who is at the end, and they do have a finale party over there, and
yeah,
we have like a finale, like a farewell kind of thing on our
yeah.
side. But then once we
Oh,
go
it's not
home,
together. It's not with the whole cast. It's just
no, we don't go back. We don't go back to Fiji, and then we
okay.
both of the groups fly back to the States on the same day, but we don't see each other. Like when we got
Okay,
to, yeah, when we got to LA, I didn't see who was at the merge at all. And then we got
gotcha.
home, and a couple of days later, there's a WhatsApp group, and everybody's there. And then everybody keeps telling everybody I was the person that didn't want to know who was at the final three. So I try not to look because I didn't want to get spoiled, even though it was my season. But once you go back, you know who the you possibly know who the winner is, and it's not a surprise. And I didn't want to know until like the really like at the moment that there was like no other option for me to know. Then I asked Natalie, told me like, do you really want to know who was at the final? And I'm like, I don't know, Natalie. And she was like, you should know. I'm like, who wasn't like the three people that voted you out? And I was
Mm.
like, fuck, no, motherfuckers. Like, I have to be honest.
This is glorious.
I'm not upset forever with these people, right? But
Yeah,
every time I see the finale or somebody mentions the finale or the final three, it gets me a little bit because that could have been me,
Yep.
yeah,
right?
yep.
If they would have kept me, there might have been a chance that I was going to be on the final three. Maybe not. But seeing that the three people that voted me out were the three people that made it to the end, it's like it stings, right? I don't hate them, but it's like bastards. Fuck you
Yeah,
guys.
All right.
I'm sure, because you're then always going to have in the back of your mind, what if you would have been able to get through that and see what would have happened in that merge stage, and then maybe getting all the way to the end. But I do want to know, who was someone that you really wanted to talk to from the cast that made it into the merge segment and everything once the game was over?
Oh, once the game was over, I really
Yeah.
wanted to like talk, especially to Kara and Allison because we were at the finals together.
Okay.
On our finals interview, it was Mike, it was Elizabeth, Kara, Allison, and I said Elizabeth already. And I think Dan was there. I'm not sure about Dan, but I really wanted to talk to the people that I started the process with because I feel that we had some kind of like rapport together.
Gotcha.
And I met Allison and Kara at the reunion. I met them
Wow.
in person at the reunion. And I'm
That's
like, oh my
great.
God, I so wanted to talk to you and like work with you. And they were like, I know, like we went through the whole process together,
Oh my
right? That's
god.
why I wanted to align with Elizabeth, because Elizabeth and I started the whole thing together. Because in the beginning, in the auditions, they have different hotels. So they have different groups in different hotels. And then once you do all your testing and your like interviews with the psych and all the evaluations, then you go to another hotel with everybody there, and you again can talk to these people and
Mhm.
you see them. But Elizabeth was with her hat the whole time.
Mhm.
The whole time. And from the beginning, and I saw her, I'm like, I really want to work with this person. Like, something is drawing me to her. And there was this other guy, which is like really funny. There was this guy that was in the audition with us, and he started with me, right? He got the exam evaluation, everything, the IQ test together, right? And he had the most gorgeous flower pants ever, right? And I'm like, I want to, like, I will talk to this guy. He clearly looked queer too. And I'm like, this is my queer person. We're going to rock this shit out. And then he got voted out. Like, he got eliminated. He didn't get to the next level of the interviews, right? And then, like, 2 years later, I'm on Facebook commenting on somebody's, a friend of me. And then this person replies and sends me a DM. And he's like, hey, do you remember me? And it was that guy.
Oh my
He's
god.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And we're like bashing this person that we have in common, because like it's such a hypocrite thing that we're not gonna get into it. But I found Eric, his name is Eric, and I found him on, we have friends in common from back home, and I have never seen
Oh,
this human. And he was like, I was on the audition with you, and I know, I wanted to work with you. Your pants were awesome. So Eric didn't made it, but we made friends out of it because we have friends in common from PR.
that's amazing. All right.
That's awesome. It's just
Wow.
it's just so funny how like you can have these connections that you would never even know about, and you just come across people in life that you just didn't think you would ever cross paths with.
That's amazing.
Yeah, same with Evie. I said it in another podcast. I met Evie before COVID because they went to a party that Jeremy and Michelle threw, and we were both fucking wasted, a little bit tipsy, and they went up to me like, "Hey, can I take a picture? Like, I'm so happy they were on the show. Like, it was so refreshing to see somebody like me on the show and everything." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." And we took a picture together, and then I went home, and then I take the chance when they reveal the cast to write everybody a message like "Welcome to the family" and all that. And when
Oh,
I went to Evie's Instagram, they are following me, and I'm like, "Huh, this is weird." So I followed them back, and I sent them the message, and they were like, "You don't remember me, right?" And I'm like, "No." And they were like, "I'm the person that you met at Jeremy's party." I'm like, "Oh my God." And I was so wasted. And I told you, you should apply. Send your video. If I made it, you made it. And they made it. So it
oh
was like
my.
hilarious that they made it to the show. And I completely forgot about that interaction prior to
Yes.
the game.
Okay.
That's
I,
that's
I,
incredible.
I want to talk about your two favorites, and let's start with that. Let's give Evie some more flowers. Solving that puzzle in a second. I, I love it. I love it, and I love these players who study the puzzles and do it, and they always do it quickly. But Evie literally was like, "Move, just like Erica, move, everybody move, right? Move this here, done." Like faster than Christian, it seemed like, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, I love that," and I'm like, "Yes." And I wonder if, and I wouldn't mind if production changes up the puzzles a little bit. Like they could be the same idea, but maybe assemble a slightly different structure. I don't know,
You
but
can practice now because there's companies that are making the puzzles.
for
And
sure,
and you can buy them. I got a couple of them sent after I play,
yeah, and
right? But you can practice, and yeah, they
good
told me
on
that as
them.
soon as they saw the puzzle, they knew exactly how it was supposed to be because they made it at home, and like, oh my God, that's like
A
brilliant.
day
Because
before she left
yeah,
to play.
also
That's what's amazing.
this season, I think that they could prepare way better because they were picked to leave,
A
and then
year before.
suddenly, yes. So they had a whole year to like study other puzzles and make puzzles and practice. So
I wonder, do we know how many people were actually still picked a year prior to? Because I'm sure some people got like mixed into the equation where they were originally going to be on the cast and then actually didn't end up on the cast, because we only have heard from a few people on the show mention I was supposed to be here last year.
And Tiffany wasn't, I know that. And what's crazy to think about, there are players on the season who weren't supposed to be there because of the 50% by POC requirement that was implemented after they were going to go film the first time. So there definitely was a shakeup there. I don't know who, but I definitely know for a fact Tiffany has said, I was an alternate and got picked. And if you think about alternates are people who got added on the last minute in the past, how they've made a difference in these casts. You go by Tiffany this season, Adam Klein in season 40, I've heard, was added at the last minute. Davey in your season added at the last minute. Who else?
Davey was really added at the last minute.
Yeah,
we
Davey
were
at the last minute.
already there, and then suddenly we have one guy, and the next day we have another guy, and I pretty knew that this guy was different, but I didn't want to say anything. So I'm like, did they really swap this person last minute? Because I never seen this guy. He didn't flew with us.
I do have one question. I heard that guy who replaced who Davey replaced was Suri's son. Is there any merit to that?
That is correct.
It is, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Why he got out of the game, I have no idea.
I
don't know that tea, but I know that he was there, and I remember it was him because I see him when he visited Suri, but also because I'm very afraid of frogs, and there's a lot of frogs at Ponderosa at night, and I didn't want to show anybody that was my weakness, but he was walking in front of me back to the camp, and a frog jumped on him, and he started screaming. And I'm like, yes, there's another one here. And he's a dude, and he screamed before me. So this is great. So that's how I remember Suri's song, because he was screaming for the frogs.
Would you have wanted to work with him?
I would have loved to work with anybody. The thing is that nobody except Elizabeth wanted to work with me. I don't know why.
Lost.
I think that they were like really intimidated by, first of all, I have an accent and it throws people out because I look pretty much white and then I open my mouth. So that's something that why is this, I will like throw suspicion, like why is this person look this way and then speaks another way. And then I'm a lesbian, I have tattoos, and people, you know, how like stigmatize our tattoos and piercings. So I understand that they were a little bit concerned about me, but they shouldn't have.
I think it's all about the person, the personality, and then what you're able to bring to the table. Because as we see on many seasons, and you even talked about this, if you ever go back, work with someone that people don't expect you to work with, because those create the best relationships and the best bonds because people don't see it coming.
I wanted to work with B. I wanted to work with Carl, and they didn't want to work with me. I don't know why. I don't know why I did to them. I don't know why I did to Jessica, because their complaint was that I was the weakest person. But I want you a fucking kid to make a fucking motherfucking, you know, shelter that was very nice, and I miss a lot when we went to the Jabeni beach because they had like nothing. They just didn't, and they kept saying that, and they were like people that were weaker than me. So I think it was just a perception thing. Same with Pat. Pat in the beginning didn't like me because he said that my tattoos were like fucking weird.
What?
Oh yeah. He said that to Rob.
That guy was tatted out too.
Yeah, and I saw his tattoos and I didn't say anything. They didn't make sense to me, but I didn't say anything because this is very personal. So he said that, oh, her tattoos are like so random. Like, so what the fuck? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but them saying that you were the weakest is bullshit because you and Christian went out and killed that first challenge.
I was never the last one in any of the challenges.
No.
If I was always a par with, like, at the same level as Gabby. Gabby and I were always at the same level in the challenges, but they always made it seem in the edit that I was the last one. I was never the last one.
You weren't. Oh, God.
I was decent. The only thing that got me afraid was swimming, because even though I'm from like a Caribbean island, I don't like the ocean. I don't like the beach. I know how to swim, But I was like very afraid of swimming challenges, and we didn't get any of those because the weather was so bad.
Gotcha. All right. Are we good? Do you want to talk about the immunity challenge and the whole dilemma of it for a couple seconds?
Oh, we're
Yes.
skipping Papaya Gate.
I was thinking we do Papaya Gate when we talk about Ricard and Shan later, but if you want to talk Papaya Gate, we can.
I just say, like, let's talk about this because I want to hear, Lyrsa, your perspective. Who was in the right? Who was in the wrong in this situation between Shan and Ricard?
First of all of them were wrong. That
Yes!
was not ripe. That was not ripe. Let's start with that. I wanted to slap Ricard because he is Puerto Rican and he should have. We all know that we're going to film in Fiji. And once you're in, the first thing you should do is find out what's there to eat. I did my research. I knew exactly what was in the island. We just need to find this food, right? And then they're fighting about a fucking green papaya. It was not ripe. They taste awful when they're green. And then they were like, oh, it's delicious. And I'm like, no, it's not. I know how it tastes. It's not delicious. Don't lie to me because I know it tastes bad when it's green. I think I understand where they come in from the fact that you just had a reward, right? You just had food and we had nothing. And this season is special because they're actually not given a lot of food and a lot of rice, right? So I do understand that, but there was way more papayas on that beach that there were when I was there. I couldn't find a single one that's the Jabeni beach. Mm-hmm. So I know exactly what's there, and I think that maybe not filming for a whole year revampish the fruits and whatever was in the island because I never saw a papaya there. Not on that one. I want to have make a fuss about it. If he had just a tiny piece of it. It's not that he ate the whole thing. Yeah. No, so I would have to like, bro, come on. But I wouldn't have been like, oh, you have something to eat and I didn't.
To me, it's just bad on both their parts, and like that's my typical answer when people get into a fight, especially on Survivor. You're both being idiots. I think. Ricard won. You did just go on a reward. You know that people are starving around you. They're not in a good mood, and then as he's going to grab it, Shan is like telling him to stop. That's the moment you really need to be like, oh crap, all right,
reevaluate.
Sorry, move on. And like, okay, no, you know what? I had a I had a lapse in judgment. Sorry. And then he eats it. And then it's like, all right, Shan's really upset. Hear her out why. And then be like, you know what? Even if you don't believe her, even if you don't agree with it, you're right. Okay, Shan, I'm sorry. Move on. And then bitch about it later.
Right. I actually think they both played it wrong.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But what I will say,
definitely.
What I will say is this. I think what Shan could have done, Shan could have been really irritated and everything, but just don't show it.
Oh, yeah,
I think if Shan would have talked about it with someone one-on-one outside of like in front of everyone, it would have looked better on Shan's part. But I don't fault Shan for being upset. She should be upset. With Ricard, though, when you see Ricard in the shelter with Danny and Evie, the way Ricard made it, well, I got in trouble for doing this. And I'm like, yeah, because you probably shouldn't have stuck your hand in there. And I get it. Like he even went into his confessional saying that it's kind of the people that went on the reward versus the people that didn't go on reward. So I just think he should have just kept himself out of it. If there was leftover papaya, maybe then say, hey, can I try a piece? I think if he would have asked, then people are more inclined to say, sure, why not? Because he's only asking for a small sliver of it.
And also maybe just wait a little bit.
Yeah, which we actually don't know exactly if they were just starting to eat or in the middle of it. So I don't know when he got there. I think that they both needed to chill a little bit. I personally, if he would have taken a piece, I wouldn't have cared. I mean, a piece is not gonna make honestly, a piece the size that he got is really not going to make a difference. I understand that makes people angry and uncomfortable, especially because they just ate and they haven't. But I think it got blew out of proportion.
Yeah, I think the most interesting point from this is the editing, and that I think the show is definitely setting up a Shan and Ricard Civil War. I'm more and more confident that that's happening at some point.
I think that's the monster they're talking about. That something's going to happen, that it's going to explode, like shit is going to hit the fan.
My bigger concern now
is on top.
Lyrsa, go ahead.
What?
Who do you think is coming out on top between Shan versus Ricard?
Oof. I don't know. because they both have been doing like sneaky stuff.
Yeah.
Like Shan has everybody in her pocket, and that is not good for Ricard. But Ricard has been playing also with her, so I think the fight is gonna be between them. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna be between them, and it's gonna like that's when the lines are gonna be drawn.
Yeah. I think at this point, and I've been saying I think Shan comes out on top all season. I'm leaning in the other direction now, based on this episode, slightly. I'm like, all right, Ricard doesn't think just tip the scales. However, I think even if I think Ricard makes it past Shan, I think he follows her. I think they are just going to kill each other and send them both out of game. But we'll see at this point, because I think it's going to get they're harboring so much just because I think they've been allies, they've trusted each other with so much. They're disagreeing on little petty things that are going to mean a lot, and they also see the game slightly differently and know how big of a threat the other one is. And I think we've seen it with Shan. Shan's not going to let up very easily.
I think,
and now Ricard's not either.
I think that one of the disadvantages that Shan has is that she has been dominated and controlling the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's very clear to everybody. It's not like some other players that they have the control and a lot of people don't know about it. And they are making moves behind the scenes and then it's revealed and then people are like, oh, we didn't know this. But she's been actively out there and very outspoken. And I think that's going to get her in trouble.
Right.
Way before than Ricard.
I think, though, the biggest thing that we're seeing and how the show is shaping it up right now, they're making it look like Shan's going to be in trouble potentially next week and Shan has a good potential to go home. I don't think Shan's going anywhere next week because they're just hyping it up so much that she's in trouble, and just the way she's talking to certain individuals and people saying, oh, I don't like how Shan's talking to me. This is not working for me right now. But I do think if anyone can do it, I think Shan is someone that can recover from this. And you even see the conversation she has with Deshawn. I think if she can mend that fence there and they get on the same page with each other, she's going to be okay. If you can't mend that fence, I think Deshawn's going to go rogue and definitely go in a different type of direction. And that's my biggest concern for Shan is her losing particular allies that were in her corner from the beginning, but she's being that dominating factor. And some people say, I want to have a voice in this conversation. I want my opinion to be heard. If Shan lets their opinions be heard and make it think that it's their idea, still push her motive. But you have to make other people think that it's them pushing it, and you have to guide them in that direction.
Maybe it's me, and I don't think Deshawn's one to really let up easily, as we're able to tell. I also think these guys are having a bit of a problem of being told what to do by a woman and who is so confident in what she's saying. Yeah, she's like being a bit domineering in the way she's saying it and like not letting up. But I think the fact that it's a woman telling a man what to do makes a difference. Lyrsa, I can tell you agree with me on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's because she is the one calling the shots and she's taking she's making the decisions, and the guy, it's how I always say that Survivor is a microcosm of the real world, what's happening outside.
100%.
And in the real world, most of the guys don't like when women tell them what to do, even though we are more prepared in some cases, and you're
almost always right. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that there might be it might be very difficult for them to repair that because of that male ego, mostly. Because guys, you guys cannot let go. You guys are bitches.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you for a second.
Especially male, like super macho mans, they get very hurt. You're like the macho, but you're like hurting like a fucking flower. So you guys need to let go.
Oh yeah, the big muscular macho guys, they're literally like just the big exterior, and you're like, oh, the shell is so big that they can't crack it, but the shell is made of like the thinnest material possible. So you just poke it, you're like, whoop, it shattered everywhere. It's like it's like tampered glass. That's what it is.
But I also get where Deshawn's coming from, though.
I get where
the thing about it is you have to look at this perspective. If Deshawn is saying to himself, if I take direction and guidance from Shan and go and do exactly what Shan does on every single vote. Say I make it to the end with Shan, guess who's winning the game? Shan, because Shan dictated every single vote. I didn't get any say in what I wanted to do, and people are going to say, you just went along with Shan's plans.
Yeah.
You didn't make any of your own plans. And I think Deshawn is so self-aware of that, and knowing that if you just go along with a singular person's ideas and make it to the end, you don't have a case to pitch to the jury saying that you were the person that was steamrolling through the game and had control.
I think what we're seeing so much is these players knowing what to do, but executing it horribly. Deshawn knows, and justifiably so. All right, Shan maybe doesn't value my opinion as much. She wants to do like her way or the highway a lot of times. But the way he's confronting her about it makes him look bad. Flat out, it makes him look bad at the end of the day. Like, Deshawn, you're acting like a child. Ricard, the same thing. Really, Ricard, why are you being so mean to Shan? And I think it's credit to Shan's part, somewhat, for coming out on the good end of things. Although I think the more and more that people start confronting Shan, the kiss of death it is for her. But for now, I really think this could bite Deshawn. I really do, and I'm worried for him.
Can I just say, I think the person that looks the best in this entire situation at the moment is Danny, because Danny's amazing. First of all, Danny, shout out to you, love you, huge fan. But I will say,
Giants.
Danny's Cowboys, and I'm a Giants fan. But aside from that, my thing with Danny is Danny does really well at approaching people with how he approached Shan and said, I just want to float an idea to you. And I think that was a really good way to do it. Yes, it got kind of shot down. It didn't work. He was trying to, push it towards Nasir. And then when Deshawn joined the conversation, Deshawn was all about it. And then Shan goes into the point of, well, no, it has to be Xander and everything. But then Danny kind of takes a step back and is like, all right, I made my voice heard. If that's not the direction it's going to go, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, which is really good for someone like him, because he could be a huge target and his name's really not coming up to be going home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Danny has a lot of potential in this game, as I've said. My one concern, it's still there for him, is does he have the strategic chops to make a move on his own and really take control of the game? Because I think he's doing a great job as like a backseat driver right now. He's like letting things happen. He's in a good position. Nobody's thinking of targeting him, even though he's literally a tank of a human. But if he can get further in the game, I worry, is he going to be able to take control? But I'm excited to see it. All right,
Lyrsa, in that moment, who do you think actually because they were talking about splitting the votes between potentially Xander and Nasir, that group of people, who do you think would have been more beneficial? Because I'm almost leaning towards maybe the Nasir side, because Nasir wasn't really thinking anything was potentially going on. And I think that's a perfect time to get someone out that has an idol in their pocket.
Yeah, I think that, I will have split the votes between them right now and flush that idol. And yeah, Sander, it's how do I say that? Give me a second. He was playing with Evie. He had a group, right? So he's a little bit of a threat because he had some people behind him. And I feel that Nasir, because he's been playing like on the backseat right now, they were like, I would have voted Nasir out. I love him, but I feel that there's no way that he can control the game or make a move by his own, even though he has an idol, right? So I don't know. I will have put those votes on them and see what happened. But Danny, I think that one of the most important things in this type of games is not what you say, is how you say it, right? And like Alex said, he just wanted to fly something. He went cool by it. It didn't fly. They didn't do whatever he proposed to. But then we see Deshawn that gets so upset about it. And that's what people are going to remember. Like, ooh, I had issues with Deshawn. So probably that can cause him going out of the game earlier than Danny, because the approach and how things were said.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be really interesting, because at the end of the day, their whole point was to flush an idol at this tribal council. They didn't flush an idol at all. Nope. So Tiffany's right when Tiffany said, why am I going home? Or if I am going to go home, at least make someone play an idol, because now you're left with people with tons of advantages and 3 idols still in the game.
Gotcha.
They
Right.
should have gotten one of them out, mostly because of the idol. Because then, if it's both of them, there will go both gonna play it, and you will have flushed both of them.
Awesome. I really love that somebody finally gets what I'm saying about Danny. Oh, this is nice to see. All right, Lyrsa, how are you doing? Do you want to talk about the immunity challenge, or do you want to take a break first?
Whatever you guys want. I'm ready for whatever you guys want to do.
Lauren, make a call.
Yeah, just go ahead and run the ad. Let's take a break.
That's all right. So we are just going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a couple minutes to talk about the immunity challenge, the negotiation.
What an immunity challenge, guys! It's gonna be awesome.
Immunity, tribal council, Heather being on the screen for once because it's amazing. This is her episode.
I think this was her first confessional, right?
Pretty.
It was
her third.
Her third.
We'll talk about that. We'll do the ratings and much more right after this.
Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck.
Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in cherry ice flavor. Each and every flavor actually tastes great, and it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym.
I am so happy that Lucy is sponsoring us. Ever since they came on board, I have gotten no less than 5 of my friends transitioned over to Lucy and put their cigarettes down. They like the gum. I'm used to seeing the packages all around. This stuff is great, and it's really helping people make much healthier choices. So get on board and join the Lucy movement.
Hey, it's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple that you don't even have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down.
Reality NSFW listeners, go to lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR to get 20% off all products, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's lucy.co, and be sure to use that promo code SURVIVOR.
This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Well, I bet you were ready for those ads, Lyrsa.
Yes. First of all, you put one about stop smoking while I'm smoking my cigarette here, like, yeah. And then what gets me on that blue pill is that, oh, so you want a pill to get your dick hard, but you can't swallow the fucking pill? Like, what a baby are you? You want to harden, but you don't want to like swallow a fucking tiny pill? You're a wuss. You don't need a hard on. You don't need a hard on. Go home.
Lyrsa, you need to be the staple on this podcast.
Oh my, Lyrsa, can we like just run commercials together, like you and me, just like do a commercial for Johnny? I think that'd be so much fun. Oh my god,
I really like all medication commercial, mostly for the side effects, because we're gonna cure your depression, but we're gonna damage your liver, your stomach, and you might have a heart attack. Like, what the heck? The side effect is even worse, like, than your anxiety. Like, it's to me, they're funny. I really like those commercials.
Lyrsa, can we just be best friends? Like, please,
Yes.
like, text me, call me any time of day. I'll talk to you. This is amazing. I'll talk about nothing. Literally, we can talk about a paint drying, and I'll be entertained. This is fucking great. I'm sorry. I was like telling Lauren, I'm like, can we just talk for like another 3 hours? I don't care that we have things to do. We do have lives. I don't care.
It's fine. I can talk as long as you guys want.
Lauren, we're never ending this podcast.
I have my cigarettes here, not that gum. I need to stop smoking though. It's been a while. I need to stop smoking. I'll think about it. But you guys are targeting cigarettes and the vapes, like everything. Like, no, don't do anything. Don't do anything.
Well, get yourself some Lucy if you really want it.
I don't know if I trust gums though.
Yeah,
I'm not a gum sure, actually.
Yeah, you know what? And if you don't want to do
But I'll
that,
swallow that pill.
yeah, you
Maybe I'll get a
want a
hard-on.
super hard dick. There you go, Lyrsa.
Yes, that's the dream. No, it's not.
Oh my god. All right. Speaking of all of this, let's
Lauren,
actually roll into this immunity challenge, which
Oh,
we don't need to spend too much time on it because it was,
No, we did. We did
it
everything.
was a real quick one.
I
Lyrsa,
was
give me
very
everything.
surprised because this is like, first of all, they do accommodate the height. They take into consideration your height. That's why everybody like is able to do it. And then all of them like fell out of it. And this is like a very classic, you at least that's one of the things I practice back at home, like balancing in really, really small cubes and in small spaces, because I also have baby feet, so I think that I would have done great in any of the challenges that I had to like balance on things on my feet because they're like so fucking tiny and great. But they all just drop out of it. It was like such a quick challenge.
What's amazing to me about that, and I'm not sure if this was different than past challenges. I was just noticing they're almost completely on their tippy toes. Like they're on like the tip of the toe, and they're balancing this thing on their head. Which
Not
pretty much.
everyone.
Fair.
I think that some of the heights were off.
I
Because
wanted to go there.
that bothered me because I don't think it was equal like it normally was, and I think that's why it went so quick.
Who? But throw out names. Who is production trying to help or mistakenly helping?
I don't think mistakenly helping anyone. I'm just saying if you look at Deshawn, the way it looked, it didn't look like everyone else's. I think Deshawn needed to be up a little bit higher.
Yeah. So I think I've heard Tyson talking about it, how you can be benefited by lying about your height one way or the other, or lying about your weight for a challenge, and sometimes they don't catch it. Lyrsa, is that true? Like, do you give them your height, or do they like measure you?
They know your height. No, they know your height. Once you start filling out everything, you give them your height and your weight.
No, I'm saying, but you fill it out. You write down your height. They don't measure you and do a physical.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Okay, so you could make it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could freaking say I'm 6 foot tall.
But when you get your physical before getting there, like you have the doctor's like measures, so they should know your weight and everything. Yeah.
So they use. I would hope they use the doctor's measurements, but I don't know.
I mean, Lyrsa, do you think
maybe they
equal?
accommodated themselves in a different like color that you were supposed to, and that can be one explanation. I think that the dreads also didn't help. I think that he was balancing.
Oh yeah, Him and Danny,
And
yeah.
Danny with the dreads. I think that was his problem with the challenge and why he went out so early. And it's like trying to balance it with like the dreads I think that was the problem when they like close up on it.
Listen,
I just think some people were on their toes, had to be on their toes way more than other people did, because other people were able to be like closer to the board, and some people were like at the peak of their tippy toes.
Yeah.
So I just don't think the height was equal.
Yeah, and I want to give Heather credit where it's due. I know she lasted 3 minutes, or 4 actually, 4 minutes, but in that challenge, I'm just impressed by it. 4 minutes for somebody of that age. Or 4 minutes really in general, that challenge. I don't know how they do it. It just seems so
on your
difficult.
tippy toes and trying to balance everything. Yeah.
Oh my God. And you can't hold on to anything. Like if I could hold on to the post, I think that challenge would still be incredibly hard. It'd be doable. And I think that honestly would be more about pain tolerance than skill, which Jeff is like, oh, this is a challenge about pain tolerance. No, it's about balance, and pain tolerance is a secondary concern. If you let them hold on to those bars, like, keep everything the same if you want. Let them hold on the bars. How long can you go now? Because now this isn't a matter of really you losing your balance. It's a matter of how bad do you freaking want this, which is the type of challenge I prefer, which is why I always want Hannah on a hard idol to come back.
And how much pain you can endure, because even though you're holding, you will still be on your tippy toes and trying to balance something. So will still go. Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
I will say, I think if Nasir would have been in the challenge, that Evie would have had huge run for the money there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. Can we talk about this negotiation dilemma? Because it got me flashbacks to your good old buddy Angelina.
That's exactly what I said when they started negotiating. Like, oh, the Angelina negotiation. It's coming out.
But this was presented differently. So Jeff says to them, all right, there are 3 options of how we can run this challenge. One is none of you sit out and we run the challenge as normal. Second one is that one person right now says, I don't want to play, and they get a portion of rice for themselves, which they all seem like even a little bit interested in at the moment. But then he's like, all right, here's one more option. You can have 3 days of rice for everybody if a certain amount of you agree to give up. And they're all like, and Jeff is like, negotiate with them. They're all like, wait, what? Wait, we can negotiate with you, Jeff? You're not going to like give us a number? And then Chan's like, oh, how about 2 people? Jeff's like, I'll do 7.
No.
But can you blame her? I mean, I would start.
No, I don't. But just the way she
possibly could. Like,
no, the way she said it, just the way she said it was funny. But so, like,
yeah, but you need to
say with a little confidence, like 2.
Angelina had a whole list of things before going into, like, she did her market study before going into negotiation, and she had a bunch of things that she offered before, right? Yeah. So for offer 2 people, as soon as you said 2, I'm like, no. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, 2 people, that's not worth it. We need more people. But it also speaks about how not comfortable this group is between themselves, even though they're aligned and they know that, for example, Shan is not going to vote out, let's say, Ricard, right? They were hesitating.
They know Shan's thinking about it, though. That's the thing.
There's a big problem there of trusting everybody, even the people in your alliance. Because usually when you're aligned with somebody, you all say, like, okay, so let's sit down because we're very sure that we're not going to go. And nobody wants to step forward.
Go.
I was going to say, in terms of the people that did step forward, I'm going to say Xander doing it, not a terrible move for one reason in particular, is because I do think Xander sitting out of some of these challenges is almost making him a little bit less threatening because he's not able to showcase how good I think he would be in challenges. And so I think he's keeping his threat level a little bit lower in terms of challenge performances, which could then in turn help Xander, because Xander's sneaking by a couple of votes, still has that idol, still has an advantage. So I just think that what Xander's playing is pretty good on his part. And also the fact that all the people that had idols decided to sit out. I think it's a lot easier if you have an idol to sit out.
Yeah.
Except
Ricard at that moment. But what I find is, so Jeff says 5, Shan offers 4, and he takes it. He offers 5, and he takes it, which I think that was a fair number, honestly. And then Xander does, with all due respect, it's kind of bullshit to me, the whole, I'll do 4 if it means I'm one of them. And it's, and I know Jeff took it for like the TV moment of it all. Of like, ooh, maybe this will happen. Maybe I'll get my moment. But to me, it was like, no, make it 5. Get 2 people to do it.
No, it's negotiation. I don't think it's bullshit. I think it's negotiation.
No, it's negotiation after you make Jeff didn't counter. Jeff didn't fight. In my opinion, he didn't fight enough. It was, okay, you want this, I'll do it. And it was like, I don't know.
Xander's coming with the counter though, and
I'm not blaming him.
Jeff-
No, I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming Jeff for taking the deal. Because like, listen, good on you, and it makes you look decent. Although I think doing that plus the reward in the same episode can almost make you look like, all right, you're just almost trying to kiss ass and make yourself look good. But I mean, it worked out for him. So we have Nasir, who does it immediately. Shannon, Xander, and Ricard, who all sit out, which makes a lot of sense for them. Except Xander, I do want to posit one thing. I had thought if he won immunity this episode, I think he would have been in a pretty good spot actually. Yes, he's a challenge beast. Yes, his threat level is high. But when you win immunity, your threat level, I think, subsides a little. And I think that happened to Evie tonight. And I think it's why I think now Evie is in a better long-term position than he is. Because, yeah, Evie didn't have control of the vote really at all. But the fact that nobody's saying their name, I think, gets it out of you start forgetting a little bit. And now it's time for more names to start going out there. Because it's like, all right, who did we even hear considered this episode? Tiffany, Nasir, Xander, Heather. That's 4 people right there that were considered heavily. And now you're down to 3 of those 10 left in the game. I don't know.
I disagree with you completely.
I think there's merit to him sitting out. I'm saying I also think there would have been merit to him winning.
Right, but I get that. But most of the time when you do win, you're hoping that people are going to come to you and try and build an alliance with you. And we see that Evie had no really any information going into that tribal council.
Yes,
and so that's where I'm coming from with this entire situation is Xander was still talking to people prior to tribal council, making those connections, not great ones as we saw, like still got his name written down, but then again, didn't get voted out of the game. So I do think it kind of just depends on the layout going into these next few episodes. So I disagree completely.
Oh, go for it. Let me push back one thing. I think if Xander had immunity, he'd have even more control in that situation. He'd be in a position I'd almost want Evie to be in right now. I think he would have known exactly what was going on at that vote. I think he would have at least had a say in controlling the vote. Maybe it wasn't controlling it. And I think he could have had a push and maybe made an alliance that would have gotten him further. I think that's what Evie wanted to do, but wasn't like being in enough of like the social circles to get that info. And I think Xander would have been able to do it. So, Lyrsa, what are you thinking?
Yeah, and usually the person that wins immunity gets some control of the tribal and people consult them. And that didn't happen here. And I do think that if Xander would have won that, I think it's also the gender thing. Nobody approached her. And I feel it's the gender thing because she's a woman. If Xander would have won, people would have approached him and talked to him and say like, hey, how do you think this should go? And that didn't happen. They didn't know who they were going to vote for until the end. And then Shan told them, like, would you vote for this person? And they were like, yes, I'll vote for that person. So they didn't take her into consideration at all, which I think they will have Xander.
Lyrsa, I just want to spotlight you have a little guest joining us. So if you wouldn't mind making this introduction, that would be lovely.
This is my dog. She's very annoying. And when I record, I let her outside of the room because she barks a lot and demands way too much attention, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
Her name is Batata Yabeni, actually. And
I'm going to try to pronounce that, but I love it.
Batata, it means sweet potato. And they get called Batata Yabeni when she's doing something really bad. I don't think she knows that her second name is Yabeni. So
Nice.
She has like no idea. But yeah. And the cats are around too. I have too many pets. I have a zoo in this apartment and I need to stop. Yeah. Oh my God. I have kept all the pets that I have from previous relationships. So I'm a very, very single mom and all the moms of these cats are different and dogs. So I don't know. She's cute. My baby.
She is very cute. Love the name though.
Yes, I love the name. Oh my God.
We got her right when we came back. I came back from Survivor, and the only thing I actually wanted to do with the dog when we got the dog was like name the dog and sleep with her. I didn't want to do anything with the dog because dogs are very demanding, not like cats. I always had cats. Cats are easy. And then I fell in love with this nugget, and I couldn't like contain myself. And in the end, I kept the dog. On the divorce. But yeah, I picked her name. Batata, because we were eating at a restaurant where we got her, and we ordered some batata, some sweet potatoes. So we named her after the food that we were having.
I love it.
There you go.
And then
Sweet potato and the tribe.
Javeni, because it was like the tribe's name. So I wanted her to have some survivor thing.
I love it. All right. To anybody who didn't like that interruption, you know what? Too bad. I'm not apologizing for it.
Sorry.
No, don't
They
apologize.
have to watch the video, though. They have to watch the
They
video.
do have
if
to
they wanna
watch the
see
video,
It.
and,
You want to see the little doggy.
Yes.
See, I'm telling you already. She wants me to play with her, and I can't play. Can't play with you right now.
I guess we need to do a podcast in person, and just we'll all be like holding your pets throughout, and just playing with them.
I think we did that on the either Sequester or Equilibrium. That all the pets at some point were joining, and we were like sharing the pets over the game.
I wish you did that on Sequester. That would have been a lot more fun. But I haven't. All right. Yes. So we get through this challenge. Kudos to Evie for winning it in a whole 4 minutes after Spencer apparently did that for 98 minutes or 88 minutes, excuse me, which kudos to him on that. But we get back to the Viacana tribe, which I love that they just didn't even tell us the name for like a whole episode. There's like, we're the murder tribe. Oh yeah, now it's named. But
it means we are very hungry or something like we are starving.
Nice.
Something like that.
I love it. It still does not beat Dang Rain in my opinion, because in Philippines they wanted to name the tribe effing Rain, which I still wish production would have let them. But I digress. So we get back to camp and the scheming starts. Liana says, all right, I want Xander to play his idol and I want Tiffany to go home. Ricard and Shan agree with that. And then you think, oh, we're just going to have Xander and Tiffany as the options. All right, this will be nice and easy. And then Danny and Deshawn come up with Nasir, and we have the whole kerfuffle that we've already discussed.
Touched on, yep, for sure.
Yeah. And
it is so interesting to me that Liana really doesn't want to associate herself with the Jasa tribe, because usually you always gravitate to the people you started the game with, even though you have to drop them at some point. I have never seen somebody that from the get-go, it's so vocal, like, I don't want to deal with these people, I want them out. And to me, that's a little bit, I mean, if I were there, I'll be hurt. Like, I've been here with you the whole time. I understand that we're going to vote each other out, but she's so adamant to take all of them out. So I wonder what I want to know what happened behind the scenes that we didn't get to see for her to make such a radical change.
I think the biggest thing that did happen though was her trying to utilize that advantage too early, because I still think in that moment she could have kind of not necessarily worked both sides, but still kind of convinced them that yes, she's still somewhat working with them. She's not going to try and steal Xander's advantage or anything. And I think that wouldn't have hurt her game as much. I still think she has a chance to win this game, of course, because I think you can't write anyone off. But I think the biggest issue is you can't go back to really any of those people now, because they're not going to trust you for a second.
No. Yep. She severed those relationships.
Yeah, and I think she's right to not trust them. But what's so interesting to me is I think we've seen this kind of dynamic with somebody who was almost like mistreated by their tribe members, where they were so on the outs, so far on the outs, they were basically like almost bullied in some cases, that it's like, all right, they were the next to go, clear as day, but they didn't go to tribal or something.
Yeah, but that didn't happen here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so weird about it. And I think
that's why it's weirding me out, because like you are gonna get the people out, right? But you were not in the outs on your original tribe. These people like you.
I think it was something with like Liana and Tiffany, because I think they were at least a little bit like more different, because Liana got along with Xander while Liana got along with Evie very well. And I think she got along with Tiffany, but I think you could tell almost it's like the mother and like the rebellious child a little bit. And I think once this could all be hot garbage, but I think Tiffany getting in closer with Evie and Xander forced Liana to be like, you know what, let me jump ship, and her relationship with Shan. I think it was a little bit of both, where like Shan just pulled her away. It was like, nope, come here.
I don't think necessarily like that completely, honestly, made a difference, because what happened, in my opinion, was I thought Liana and Evie were very, very close with each other, and I think Evie felt the same way. I just think Liana put all her eggs in Shan's basket and said, I think as Shan has more to offer in this situation, I'm just going to go completely with Shan and just cut off these 3 other people, which I don't think is a great move, because you didn't have someone from that side that disliked working with you. They were good to work with you. And I just think she just jumped ship way too quickly. I think that's a move you make later on down the road, knowing you have that relationship with Shan, keeping that relationship with her good, but also keeping the relationship good with Xander, Tiffany, and Evie, because those are numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna need them at some point.
Absolutely.
And now if she wants to make a move, it's gonna be very difficult for her to win their trust back.
Right. There is one moment that comes after the whole Shan and Deshawn back and forth, you're not listening to me nonsense, is Shan going up to Nasir, and they're talking about, she's like in a confession of why she wants Nasir to stay. And it's like, oh, he's a provider, which is something I think at this stage in the game we've not heard in a long time. So it's going to show how physically tough they're making the season. We get there, and then we get to Nasir finding out, hey, you're the decoy vote. And him saying to Shan, wait, why isn't it Heather? Can we please do Heather? And I almost think Shan acted a little impulsively there and was like, yes, all right, I can do this. And took it on as a challenge of, right, let me switch everything, not realizing that Xander and Tiffany, for example, are going to sniff this out in an instant and be like, oh, yeah, I'm in trouble. When the target went from Nasir to Heather, I am so screwed. Like, that, I think, was one of her biggest weak spots in the season. In this episode, I think in the whole season, it was just like, I don't think she needed to do it. And it just looked bad. What do you think about that, Lyrsa?
Well, let's start with, it's never good to have your name come up, even though if you're a decoy, right? Yeah. Because for the next, then your name is out there, and then you brought attention to yourself, even though if you're not going to be voted out. So now I understand why Nasir didn't want to have his name, but also they should have left Nasir being the person that's going to be the decoy name. Right. And I think that she was too quick to change. Yeah, I think that it was too quick to change. But I also understand Nasir. I mean, but the smart way will actually have been written Nasir's name down. Yep. So they could have flushed the idol and tell him like, oh, yeah, it's a decoy, but in a shady way. So he will have felt like unsafe and play the idol. And then you flush it and you still keep him. Right. And you vote the other person out. But I think that she did jump really quick and make that change, and it might possibly come back and bite her.
I think the biggest issue I have with this entire situation, though, is this. You're essentially then pissing off 2 people, because 2 people knew, okay, I got made the decoy vote, so that can't make me feel real comfortable, because maybe I'm not at the top of this alliance or even integrated that deep within the alliance. Heather makes an excellent point. What if they both play idols? My name's already out there, and then Shan's trying to, like, take that all back, but she can't, because Heather's name is out there. So the damage is already done. And so I just think that's the biggest issue we're going to run into, is people are knowing, okay, Shan was okay with letting my name be the decoy, but not other people's names being the decoy. So that then tells me, I'm really not as close to Shan, or maybe even within that alliance, as much as I thought I was.
Yeah, I'm not on the top 3 of the alliance, let's say. So you start questioning, and maybe now Heather and Nasir, which will be a great opportunity to Evie, feeling that their names were thrown, even if it was a decoy. That's the moment that people in the bottom of the alliance should start reaccommodating their numbers.
I want to see Evie grab Nasir, Heather, Erica, and Xander and say, let's freaking do this. Grab them. You have 5 right there. You grab 1 more for a vote. And I think Evie can really do damage in this game.
Who's the person you think they could grab for the vote, though?
I think Shan, honestly. I think you can. If you say the target is Deshawn, I think you can maybe get Shan.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see if
it's a tough sell. I agree with you. It's a tough sell. But I think for somebody like Evie, who is not in a great position right now, who's in a good, I think is in a decent position, but to really get into the driver's seat to win the game, I think they need a big move. And I think it's something like that, getting at somebody who you know is never going to work with you.
Yeah.
All right.
If she manages to grab 5 people, if I were in that position, I will try to get the people that are more vocal about it. So yeah, we'll definitely try to get Sean out.
Mm-hmm.
If you manage to get numbers, because she is a very powerful player. She is running this shit.
Yep.
She is running it. And that's the person that you need to take out.
Do you think Shan is going to actually, A, ever see it coming to then play the idol, or B, just get completely blindsided and go out of the game with idol in hand?
Ooh.
I think if they play it well, they should get her out on a blind side. We haven't seen one yet, right?
No.
So that it will be a great one. It will be a great one. If
they have to play it perfectly, though, because if she gets that's the one issue. I do say it's going to be hard to get Shan out, because Shan, yes, she has made a couple enemies with some people. She does have people in her corner that I do think would let her know the vote could be potentially going her way, which then would get Shan to maybe play the idol.
Lauren, what do you think will happen out of those two things? Because I have a theory, but go for it.
I actually think Shan's going to get extremely blindsided in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So blindsided with the idol in pocket.
Well, it would have to be that way. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let me posit one thing I think could happen. You remember Kim Spradlin in Winners at War? She had that idol. Her positioning, she was very capable. Obviously, one of the best social players ever in the history of the game. Wasn't in the best position throughout. But the minute her name started getting said a little bit, she's like, all right, let me play the idol. She didn't need it, and then got sent home right soon after. And I think that could happen to Shan. I think Shan could get paranoid, hear her name being come up, plays the idol as insurance, doesn't end up needing it, and then a round or two, maybe a few rounds later, she gets blindsided because they're like, we know Shan doesn't have an idol at this point. Let's get her out. If she's not careful, we'll see. That's my hot take for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but then again, I also still say to myself, I think Shan has a way that she could potentially win this game, and I've said that time and time again. I think everyone has a shot, and I think Heather's shot is the lowest at this moment, but you never know what can emerge coming into the merge portion of the game, because we also still have to remember they've only been out there for 15 or so days, so a lot can happen in the end game, and we've seen people run away with the game that really start playing right peak time, merge time.
I realized that they only have 10 days left of a game.
Yep.
So now everything has to go really quick. So whatever they're gonna do, it has to be super precise.
Yep.
Super precise.
All right. So then Nasir, Heather, Xander hears, now the plan is Heather and okay, he doesn't believe it. Him and Tiffany are talking. And Xander has a line that probably only made me interested because I'm a computer science major, talking about trying to find an error in a code. And it related to me and nobody else, but I just wanted to shout him out there because, you know what? I've experienced that problem a lot in real life and when programming. So we talked about that. And then we get Tiffany's confessional, which had me cracking up. But it's one of the reasons I love Tiffany, of talking how desperate she is for now. She's like, if a Herman crap wants to work with me, let them vote. She's like, oh, great, let the Herman crabs vote with me. I don't care. And I think that would so be me out there looking for allies. That's like, you know what, Herman, all right, Jeff, can the crabs vote? They all like me.
Can they help me, please?
Yeah.
Jeff, can we vote for you?
Her Ponderosa video is one of my favorite Ponderosa videos ever.
We will get there. We need to dissect that video.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we can't dissect it. Lyrsa,
we can't dissect it, but we'll tell you highlights.
Lyrsa, after this podcast, definitely watch the Ponderosa video, and we will dissect it at some point.
Okay.
Lyrsa,
I know it's good. Because she asked me. I sent her a message once she was voted out, telling her she did she played a good game and everything. And she asked me when they were coming out, if they were gonna get the videos. It's gonna be on YouTube, so you'll find it on YouTube. It's gonna be there.
I cannot wait to talk about that. Tiffany's great. But then one thing, we get Heather right before Tribal. We get Heather on our screen for the first time all season, basically after. I'm wrong. Second time, she asked Jeff in the challenge, "How many is multiple?" which I think was maybe her saying, how many confessionals are you defining as multiple? Wait.
More than 2, definitely.
Yeah.
More than 2. All right, I digress on that. But I don't know why this happened this way, to be honest with you, but this just made Shan look bad. It flat out did. Of, hey, Heather, Nasir wasn't happy about being the decoy, so you're the decoy. You're not going home, but you're the decoy. And to me, it's like, Heather, yeah, we don't want to send you home tonight, but boy, are you expendable and pretty much useless to us other than just giving us your vote. So you better fall in line. And Heather's like, nope. No,
She
I
stood
don't
up
like
for
this.
herself. Appreciate that, because she wasn't going to just like lay down and let someone dictate anything there. She was going to stand her own ground, which I do think is something good that we see out of Heather, because it's showing to me that she's not going to necessarily let someone tell her what she needs to do. I think going forward, if Heather's able to push an initiative with a certain group of people, we can see Heather do something here.
We shall see. All right. Are we ready to talk about Tribal and the ups and downs and whatever the hell happened in that time?
Yes.
All right. So we get there. They start talking about who sat out of the challenge and why. Shan about her being a pastor. Xander's like, oh, I want to prove my loyalty. Nasir saying that he is a provider, which everyone believes because that's just who he is. And then we get to Heather and Tiffany didn't feel comfortable. I'm just curious, why do we think Heather didn't feel comfortable before the challenge? Because I get why after, but before the challenge, we saw nothing of her name being mentioned. Was it just maybe like her generally being paranoid, her not having allies? What do you think was the reason that she didn't feel too comfortable?
Because like, as viewers, we have no idea what she's thinking or what's going on in the game. And so I think Heather's perspective is she has to know what's going on in the game. And if she's feeling some type of way, she's probably correct and should be worried that she could potentially be expendable and going home, because you even see it at the well where people have said, all right, we're just going to throw Heather's name out easy. So I think she recognizes that.
Yeah, I do. I'm just curious. I'm just saying I wish they showed us something of Heather's name being thrown out at least once by somebody, or something that, like, even just getting her thought process. You know what? A confessional would really help right now, Probst. Confessional would really help. But no, they don't do that. Lyrsa, you have anything to add?
I feel that she started like scrambling and like talking to people because she probably is at the bottom of her alliance, and now she's seeing that once they mention her name, as you said, she's expendable, and now you're trying to recover from that and try to like make something and show them like, hey, no, don't discard me out. I have something in me, right? But I feel that if they have to vote one of their own, it's gonna be Heather.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's very fair. So just continuing with Tribal, Danny's like, oh, I don't know what's happening. Shan's waiting for Tribal to blow up. Evie's heard nothing. And then Danny's like, you know what, Jeff, let me explain to you what's going on. It's like, all right. Jeff's like, all right, Danny, you tell me what's going on. He's like, oh, the opposite three are saying they're disloyal, but who really believes them? And Evie is like, I'm alone. And Eric is like, I don't know what's going on, but just
nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah, it's weird how it's weird how I think they're so paranoid that the Yasa three legitimately are against each other to an extent, at least. To an extent, they're against each other, and nobody believes it just because they're so paranoid and they were so played by the three of them last round. I kind of love it. I love that part of it.
I don't know if it's paranoia, though. I just think it's them thinking that they pulled something crazy and big at the last tribal council, and if they are maybe faking them all out, separating themselves from each other, but in actuality working together. So I don't think that's them being paranoid.
I'm not saying it's not justified.
I'm just thinking that they're reading into a situation where if you're fact checking what happened prior to, it could easily happen again. So they're on their toes.
Oh, I don't disagree with them being on their toes. I think they went a little over it, and I get why. I completely get why. But I think it was I think they stepped a little over the line of just being concerned. Or not believing it fully. So what are you thinking?
I feel they are way into getting the three Yasa out, that they are not knocking down members of their own group that should be out of it. so they can have more chances of winning.
I feel like so many of them just have like bullseyes set on
Yeah,
these three. They don't
we
know.
call
I
it
fully don't know why.
gringolas in Spanish. We call it gringolas, that thing that you put on horses when they're like about to like race. They're just like, it's exactly like when Natalie didn't want to like work with me because she was Goliath strong.
Yeah,
Right?
they're
And they are like set on this. They don't want to look to the side. They're so into
They've got
getting these
blinders
three
on.
people out. Yeah, they have lines, and they want to like get these three people out no matter what. When you can vote people that are strong in your alliance, and you can have a better chance of making to the final.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see people's thought process playing the game, because I definitely think we're at that stage where people aren't fully being able to think correctly like they were at the beginning of the game, because you just see the development in certain individuals where, oh, they make a small little mistake, but they wouldn't have made that mistake on day 3 or 4.
Also, they are not having rice,
Yep.
right? So not having at least some food. Also, your brain start like, debilitating, and you start making mistakes, and you're not thinking cohesively because you just want to eat because you're that hungry, or you're like that sleep deprived.
Right.
All right. So we have Jeff saying it is time to vote very, very slowly, because he's just, I think he's egging them on at that point. Come on, somebody, please get up. Please get up. Please whisper. And then Heather does. He's like, oh my God, yay. Yay.
Let's do it.
And I really want to start down this, because Heather tells Tiffany, be calm, trust me, and all this. And what she's going to do the whole time is go pitch Tiffany to everybody else. But what she does, instead of just going to people and say, hey, I want Tiffany gone, she goes to like, I think she goes to Erica, and I believe Erica and Nasir, and she's like, oh, vote. Here's the decoy plan. Or not Erica and Nasir. Sorry. She goes to Erica. Here's the Erica and I believe Evie. Here's the decoy plan. Go vote Nasir. And everyone, and just because perception is reality, everyone's like, oh God, Heather wants Nasir out. This is not good. So I think that's so interesting that Heather, I think, had an idea, and I get maybe it's just paranoia, but executed this so horribly. And then everyone's like, oh God, Heather's trying to flip the vote. She wants Nasir. When actually, all she really wanted to do, I think, was make sure the plan was in motion.
She almost went home because of it. Like,
oh yeah,
that's the one thing where I will say, live tribals, don't push a live tribal if it doesn't need to happen. I think they could have gone straight into the vote, and Heather would have came out squeaky clean with this. But the fact that Heather went and did that, I think Heather goes back to camp where people are going to start to question Heather a little bit more. And the only reason why Heather still stayed, I think, is because Deshawn wasn't going to get pushed around and didn't want to do that. I think Heather was a lot closer to going than we think.
Oh, wait till we rate Heather, because I've got a lot to say about how bad I think this was. But it just, to me, it almost felt like Heather was nervous, because I don't think at the first, I mean, she only been in one tribal before, and she was literally safe at that tribal, so she could not have been voted out. This was her first tribal of the game where she was vulnerable. She heard her name being thrown around as a decoy, and in her mind, and thinking that selfishly, which I get, of, oh, really, what if Nasir and Xander play idols? I'm screwed. And I think she was so worried about that small chance where she was almost like, it's almost like you're baking a cake and you have it almost perfect, but there are some like edges that aren't like perfectly shaped around. And when you go to try to fix it, it just crumbles. I almost think that's what she did. She's like, no, this needs to be perfect, Jeff. I'm not ready to vote. This needs to be perfect. And crap, it fell everywhere. That's not good.
She probably that night had to give a lot of explanations.
Oh, I bet. No,
she was not feeling like a chicken nugget. Every time I came back to Camp Alive, I felt like a chicken nugget, and I don't think she's going to feel like a chicken nugget.
I think she's going to feel like a little burnt crisp.
We're going to probably get more screen time out of it, because you're going to have to see the aftermath of this situation.
Yay,
so
more
she will have to explain on a confessional what happened. So that will give her number 4, confessional number 4.
I think she got 2 this episode.
She got 2, so like
she got 2. She's up. She doubled her confessional count.
Confessional number 5 or so. But yeah, you're gonna definitely get Heather screen time, because she's gonna have to talk to people back at camp and then explain her thought
what happened. Yeah.
And one question I do want to ask the both of you: Ricard kept telling Xander, "Play your idol, play your idol, play your idol." Was he trying to flush it, do you think, or did he genuinely think there was a chance Xander went home and he wanted to?
Wanted to flush it. He wanted to flush it.
Okay, I agree with you. I agree with you.
And I just want somebody tells you several times, use your idol, because if you want to keep somebody safe.
Oh yeah.
Right? You just tell them once, like, hey, play it. Convincing them it won. But once you start saying it so many times, you start questioning, like, do you really want me to save, or do you want me to use it and flush it? And I think that was his mistake. And that's why Sander didn't play it, because he kept pushing it.
Please,
I completely agree with you.
please, is what Ricard said. He kept saying, please, whispering in his ear, you got to play the idol. I just think that was too much. And I agree where you're coming from, Lyrsa. Tell them one time and see what happens. You don't need to push it that much, because Xander is a lot smarter than people are giving Xander credit for. And I think Xander is very self-aware of what's going on in this game.
100%.
It felt like Jacket Gate all over again. Like, Natalie, like, please. Like, just once, it's sufficient. And if he doesn't play it, he doesn't play it.
Yeah. So we have all that. I like Shan's line at the end. If this is group therapy, because I'm learning how to talk to people the way they want me to.
Is she though? She says she's learning how to.
I think she's genuinely trying, but in her mind, she's also like, this bullshit is so stupid. Why do these guys have egos that are so fragile? Like they're idiots. And I get it. But Shan, be nice for 10 more days. But all right, we get to the vote. Nothing really. We didn't
let them think that they are controlling the situation.
And I think
let them think that.
I think that's why Shan is not one of those elite players, at least yet. I think she's great at controlling getting what she wants without at least being thought of as a huge target. But people are realizing it's Shan. I think you have the great players who have they're not a target, they're controlling, but everybody else thinks they're in control. This case, I think Shan has 2 of the 3, and I think that's why she's a really good player. But I'm definitely worried about her. So we get the vote count. Tiffany got 6 votes. She got votes from Deshawn, Erica, Heather, Liana, Ricard, and Shan. And then Heather had 2 from Evie and Tiffany. Xander had 2 from Danny and Nasir. And then Nasir got 1 vote from Xander. Not really sure why. But yeah, that happens. Tiffany says she loves them. Rides off into the sunset of Ponderosa, where then she's like, these guys are idiots, which, fair, I agree with her.
But she's going to have steak that night.
Yeah, she should have. And then goes to Ponderosa and teaches a Fijian man how to do a New York accent, which is what I'll say is the highlight of her Ponderosa. No joke. This guy is like, all right, let me teach you how to light a torch. And she's like, wait, let me teach you how to talk like a New Yorker.
I need to watch this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's great. And usually the one person Ponderosas are sometimes really good. Sometimes they're just like, all right, they have nothing else to do. There's no one for them to talk to. But Tiffany was making her own show out there. I'm like, you know what? Good on you.
Tiffany will be missed. And I actually will say, I think Tiffany is a contender to come back for a second chance this season, because I do think Tiffany has a lot that she can bring to the table. And she was a hardcore gamer. Yep. She definitely was there to play and there to win. It just didn't work out this time for her. But I wouldn't X her out as not being someone that they would never bring back, because I do think she has strong potential to come back and play a really good game.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, she was good.
Yep. All right. So right as we look to episode 9, I do want to point out one thing. So I actually just saw a preview, and let me know if we're okay, like really diving deep into this. But
I don't want to dive into the preview.
You don't? Okay. There was one thing that was interesting. All I'll say about it is that there was like a 10-second clip that aired yesterday that from Survivor saying that the next episode, they're going to split them into 2 tribes and 2 people are going home. That's all I'll say. I did some sleuthing and I figured out who's on what team. We don't have to get into it.
I don't want to get into that. Nope.
That's fair. All right.
I want to save it for the episode for me personally.
That's completely fine.
So 2 people are coming out next week.
That's how they're going to get down to, I think, 3 people this time.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting. We'll see some interesting dynamics. I think
there's 10 days left, so it wouldn't surprise me that there might be another challenge in which they take maybe 2 out too.
Yeah, because we'll be down from 10 to 8 this episode, and the finale is a month from now, or a month from tomorrow, actually, if you want to be exact.
Yep.
Are they playing an episode on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, they are. I think it's only 1 hour. I wish it was 2 hours. Those were so much fun. But all right, let's quickly rate these players, because it's been a long time. But I do think we all want to give everybody their fair share. And there we go. Okay. All right. So first one up, I just have them sorted alphabetically, is Danny. Lyrsa, why don't you start with Danny? what you think about him.
Well, explain to Lyrsa how we do this.
Yeah,
I'll
actually,
explain it.
Lauren, why don't you do it? Lauren, you do it.
Lyrsa, it's just basically ranking them 1 to 10, how they look going into this next episode. If you think that they have a really good chance of surviving the episode or a really low chance of surviving the episode. 1 being piss poor, no chance in hell. 10 being they're playing amazing and that they're basically running the show.
I think because of his outbursts about not being listened to or his plans not being followed through, I see him as a 5 because of that.
All right. So I guess we're starting with Deshawn. Lauren, why don't you go on Deshawn?
For me, I'm middle of the road with Deshawn right now. I also have to agree with Lyrsa on this. I'm going to give Deshawn a 5 because I think Deshawn, in my eyes, still has potential to do really well in this game. I just think if him and Shan can eventually get on the same page with each other, we could see something different. But I do think if they go at odds with each other, neither of them is going to last too long in this game. I think they both need each other.
Yeah. Fair enough. I've talked about how I think he's in trouble. I'm giving him a 6, actually, because I still think he has the strategic acumen that if he gets past all of this, I think he can get himself out of situations. He knows what to do, not necessarily like the manner in which to do it. But I do think he can be a big target soon. He's getting too loud, and listen, if this next episode isn't kind to him, he's plummeting fast in my ratings. But for now, he's down to a 6. All right, let's talk about Danny real quick. All right, so I'll start with
Also,
Danny.
yeah, my comment was for Danny, not Deshawn, but I feel the same. I was giving Deshawn a 5. But mostly, I just got confused with the pictures.
Okay.
Mostly,
all right, so this is Danny now. All right.
So Danny was the comment I made before about him being mad, and now
you had it right. You had it right with Deshawn. That's why I flipped the picture.
Okay.
Deshawn was the one who got mad. That's why I flipped it. But I'm giving Danny a 7. I think he's playing a fantastic social game. He's got tight allies, and those allies are bigger targets than him. All 3 of them are much bigger targets than him right now, which is amazing because, like we said, the guy is just a beast in every sense of the word. My one concern is the agency in the game. He doesn't have a ton of it right now, and I worry about him winning without having much control. So I'm at a 7. It's a tentative 7. I think he's playing good, but he can definitely improve. Lauren, what do you think about Danny?
Danny, I'm going based off the episode and how I think they look going into the next episode. So for me personally, I give Danny an 8, and here's why: because no one is talking about Danny. Danny knows how to approach other individuals, push an idea, and if people aren't going with the idea, he sits back and says, okay, not going to go with that. And I think he has really good reads on people and kind of knows where people stand in the game. If we're talking about future, I think you're right. Danny needs to make a move, but I also think Danny's recognizing timing is everything and knows when to hold back. And I do think eventually we'll push an initiative.
Lyrsa, what say you about Danny?
Yeah, I give Danny a 7. I feel that he just needs to take more agency on what's going on and start killing on those challenges, even though it will make him look, a top dog. But he needs to start because it's just 10 days left. And if you want to win, start making your moves right now. This is the time.
All right. So let's move on to Erica, actually. Lauren, you want to start with Erica?
Oh, Erica's like the biggest hit or miss for me. You know what? Right now, I'm going to just put Erica right in the middle of the 5 slot because I still don't actually know who she really intends to even work with, because we heard her talk at Tribal Council a little bit, but I still don't even know which alliance she actually is in. I think she's partially in that big alliance, but where does she even stand? We don't even know where her ranking is with that. So I don't know what tier Erica is in, but I do think Erica, if her name gets brought up, could potentially end up going home. But if Erica keeps everyone's name out of her mouth, I think she's okay for a little bit.
Yep. Lyrsa, what do you think about Erica?
Yeah, I feel the same. I don't know who she is. I just realized she's a communications manager, but I don't think that she's communicating that well on the game. So, yeah, I feel that if her name comes up, she might be out. I don't feel too confident on her advancing possibly maybe an episode or two, because I don't know who she is. I don't know who she's working with. I don't know what's in her mind. I really don't know what's going on with Erica.
All right. I have Erica at a 6, slightly higher than both of you. I think she's in a good position in terms of not a huge target when she previously was a big target. Don't know much about her allies or really the control she has in the game, so I won't really go higher than that. And like I've said with the other ones, she doesn't make moves quickly. Her score is plummeting. So Lauren, you had her at a 5. Lyrsa, what do you have Erica at?
A 5.
5.
That's it. All right.
Well, last thing I'll say about Erica is I do think if she continues to skirt by a couple more rounds, I think I could picture her being someone that gets dragged to the end.
Yep. I can see it, unfortunately. All right. Let's move on. Lyrsa, why don't we start with your favorite? Take it away with Evie.
Evie! Ba 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 ba! I'm gonna give Evie, of course, a 10. No. I'll give her an 9 because she had like no. You know what? I'm gonna give her an 8 because she had like no clue who she was gonna vote for, and in the end, she decided for whatever they told her to do so. But I feel that winning that immunity set her in a good place right now. Hopefully, she will keep the flow going and try to like make some new alliances and talk to people to keep her safe. But this was her episode. She did great, and I feel that coming into the new episode, maybe people will start talking to her again.
Okay. All right. I'll go in here with Evie. I have Evie at a 6 right now because
How dare you?
Listen.
Oh.
Personally, as much I enjoy watching them, 10. I love them. Evie was in a bad position in the round before. I think I had her like a 4. She got up to a 6. Winning immunity, I think, was great. My concern is, like she said, she didn't know what was going on, and the fact that she wasn't told anything and really included in any of the decision making does not spring super well for her long-term effects. My reason it's not lower is because I know Evie is very capable of getting out of a situation. Maybe I'm reading the edit. I could see Evie's one of the few people I can see really winning this game at this point. But I also think her losing Tiffany might help her actually a little bit in reducing her threat level. We'll see. But that's why I can't go higher than a 6 right now, even though I desperately want to. We'll see how they fare coming up. Lauren, what do you think?
So I actually also have Evie at a 6, and I know it's a travesty. I love Evie, but my issue is not knowing what direction the vote was going at all. It just concerns me a tad bit, only because you need to have allies in this game. And I do think Evie, because Evie's really good with the social game, I think Evie is going to be able to get in an alliance with a couple people here and there. But the problem is it too little too late? That's my biggest concern for Evie at the moment. But what I will say is I think as numbers continue to dwindle, Evie's even said, use me for a vote. And I think if Evie gets used for a vote in particular and then starts to work with those people, I then think Evie has the potential to take control.
Fair enough. And I hope they do. I really hope they do, because it would be really just awesome to see someone like Evie kick ass. Lauren, you want to start with Heather?
Lord have mercy, I will start with Heather.
Well, she has a really nice stomach for like a 52-year-old mom.
Heather's fit. Heather is definitely fit for sure. But going into next episode, a 3, because she almost got herself voted out, and she didn't need to do that at all. She could have just stayed calm, sat in her seat, do you want to know what's so funny? I'm going to backtrack really quick. When they've had live travels in the past, guess who's normally sitting? Heather, sitting there smiling, just laughing about what's going on, except she started this live travel. So the travel happened because of her.
Yeah. All right. Lyrsa, what do you think about Heather?
I am also going to give her a 3 because that was nonsense. I don't know what was going in her head. She's going to have to give so many explanations once they go back. And this will definitely put a mark on her, right? I don't think that she will be voted out next, but her alliance now will still, if I feel that she was at the bottom, and now with all this drama that happened that was unnecessary, is gonna drag her more into the bottom of the alliance.
All right, my turn. Okay, this is why I want to do the race battle. She's getting a wand. I don't have a paddle, but this is the closest thing I came up with to. That's not a
Wow,
paddle.
that is low.
One.
You cannot give less than one.
Rubino
I can't give
very
less-
cruel with rankings sometimes.
I fair, but hey,
Let me add, though, we love this
I gave Brad a 2 right before he went home. He was playing the game terribly. I
know.
said it, and he went home.
Yeah,
Heather's playing this awfully.
awful.
Awful. Nothing about this was good. She increased her threat level for just about no reason. Even if she was a little bit paranoid, the way she executed the entire plan, the entire whispering plan, when she was not in danger, awful. And also, the perception of it versus the reality of it, the reality maybe saves her. The perception of it is her being a crazy paranoid person when you don't have to. And also, no one takes her seriously as a winning contender. Nobody. She was not a threat. Nobody wanted to get her out, but it was, oh, all right, we can throw Heather's name out there. Everybody knows we're never getting rid of Heather until we absolutely have to. She's wasted space. They don't care about her. Nobody's fighting for Heather. And now, not only are people not fighting for Heather, people are going to be actively fighting against Heather. And I think her shot to win is literally 0. And I think she's going home next. So that's why she's out of 1 for me. She's almost as dead in the water can be. If she doesn't go home this round, she's going home in 7th place. Mark my words.
Well, shots fired there. I just gotta say, listen, we love this entire cast. Anything we say in the rankings is solely based on people's gameplay, not who they are as individuals. And I just really like to say that because this cast at the end of the day is one of my favorite casts in a while.
I second that. And I know
cast.
Heather was cast for a reason, and I know she has a story, and I want to hear it out after the game because we're clearly not getting it on the show. But yeah, I'm just calling it out how I see it right here. This episode was not good for her gameplay wise, but yes, love you, Heather. Yes, I know I'm a little cruel with that sometimes. I'm sorry.
But it is what it is. It is what it is.
It's
And right
the
now,
it's the game. I mean, no ill will towards her. And
we're just going strictly on gameplay.
yes, and
I like her pants on that picture though.
yes, she kicks for a 52-year-old woman. She's in incredible shape. Good on her. All right. Let's talk about Liana. Let's see. I can start with Liana real quick. All right. I'm at a 6 for Liana, actually. I think her position has improved a decent amount. She has tight allies. That's the other big reason I'm high on her. She still, I think, is really in good graces with Shan, even though Shan might like Ricard better right now still, but who knows? I think she's in a good position there. Danny and Deshawn still like her. I think Evie and Xander have a little bit of they still like her, even if they're not going to work with her. And so I don't think anybody has a wall towards her. I don't think her shot to win is great, but I also don't think she's going home anytime soon. So that's why I'm at a 6. Yeah. Lauren, what do you think?
So I'm giving Liana a 5, and simply because I think she is trusting Shan way too much, because we've seen Shan get close to people and then have no problem cutting them later on down the road. And I think Liana could potentially fall into that trap. My only thing is, though, for the time being, she does have allies and people that are slightly looking out for her. But the move she made at the last travel was a huge blunder. And I do think people might not be seeing her as a threat at the moment. But Liana is somebody that can turn that around, because her name wasn't dropped as potentially going home on this episode, and that says something.
Fair enough. Lyrsa, what say you?
I'm giving her a 6. I think that she has good allies. I think that her trying to cut her ties with her previous members might bite her in the ass, because you don't know when you're gonna need people. And I think that she will be higher on my numbers if she will have played that differently, because you never know. And I think that might come back and bite her in the ass. Also, she's not giving me winner vibes, so I don't think she's gonna get to the end.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to
Can you imagine that she wins and she's like, bitch, I won?
Oh, I'd love it. You know what? Whoever we're talking about, if we've ruled you out of winning, especially me, I will fully own it. If I've said you can't you don't have a shot to win from the edit, whatever I'm seeing, and you win, good on you. Rub it in my face. I will be here for it. I would love to like talk to them and congratulate them about their win and be like, you know what? I was dead wrong about you, because I will be the first to admit it.
That's why I'm the smart one and I don't rule anybody out.
Well, I am ruling
And that's
out
why
Heather.
I'm the entertaining one, Lauren.
You're not rating anybody.
All right, you want me to start with Nasir? Because I would love to start with Nasir.
Yeah, go for it.
Nasir, I'm going to give Nasir a 6. And
Okay.
the biggest reason why I'm giving Nasir a 6 is because Nasir still has that idol. And I do think people coming to him during that live travel and saying, guess what, Heather's trying to like say your name and everything, that's good, because people could have easily done this, not said anything to Nasir, let it happen, and then the vote could have potentially gone a different direction. And you also have that confessional from Shan saying that Shan wants to keep Nasir around, and Shan has some agency within this game for the time being. But I do think people are a little worried about Shan, and so eventually Nasir is going to always be someone that is at the top of people's list to see go home, because you have Danny, with Danny pitching the point, if we don't get Nasir out soon, Nasir is going to potentially slip to the end, and then we're all going to sit there questioning, why in the fuck are we sitting here at Ponderosa and Nasir sitting there taking the money from us all?
Yeah.
So what do you think about Nasir?
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 6. I feel that at least he's gonna survive the next tribal because he still has his idol and he has good connections. I just want to see more of him and take more control of the situation, because I feel that, like they say, they're gonna question if he gets to the end by doing nothing. I think that it's the time for him. It's 10 days left. He needs to step up the game. He's a good position right now. He has people that trust him. He has the idol, but he needs to step the game up if he wants to win.
Yep. I have Nasir at a 5 for a lot of the same reasons. He still is the idol. My biggest concerns, he's still, to me, viewed as expendable. Nobody's like I like the fact that people were telling him that he was like Heather was talking about him, but I do think I think it was just because they all thought they didn't really trust Heather and they thought she was a little crazy. If somebody maybe more reputable had said Nasir's name, I think later at that point people might have considered it. And I think Nasir's leash only extends so far because he has that idol. Like, the minute he plays that idol, he's gone, unfortunately. But I love him and I hope he stays. I really hope he stays and like makes allies and like wins this game, because would I love it. But yeah, I'm at a 5 for him right now. But let's talk about the person that strangely, dare I say, is maybe not the best position, but is, in my opinion, maybe the most likely to win at this point. I can't believe I'm saying this, but let me start with Ricard. Because I think Ricard's getting into a better position than Shan at this point. I think the Civil War happens, like I said earlier. Shan, I think, is losing a lot of the army that she would have had around her, I think. Because I think you need allies. Like, Shan has allies now, but I think when push comes to shove, Deshawn is not going to, they're not going to be like, I want to fight for Shan anymore. I think Liana might. I don't think Deshawn does. I don't think Danny, and I think Danny would follow with Deshawn more than Shan at this point. And I think Ricard can get people like Evie and maybe even like Xander on his side. Maybe even get Danny. I think Danny likes him a good deal. I think Ricard can get there. I think if he plays it right and gets Shan out with the idol and with everything, it's a lot to overcome for sure. He gets out of that and really gets some tight allies. I think he can very much win this game. He's not there yet, and that's why I have him at a 7 instead of like anything higher. It's tied for the highest score I'm giving. So it's like I think he's in a good position, has some hurdles he can jump over, but I trust him to have a shot to jump over them. Right. Lyrsa, why don't you go next?
Yeah, when the cast, I'm gonna give him an 8. I think he's a really good position.
Yeah.
He just needs to make the right moves from now on for him to win. I think that for him to win, he needs to get Shan out at some point, because that is his alliance, but it's his main competitor at this point, I feel. But when I saw the cast reveal, I didn't even know he was Puerto Rican until like I added him and we had like a one-on-one conversation, right? So, but he gave me winner vibes. And we had another flight attendant that was a winner because they know how to deal with people, right? So I think that if he takes Shan out, he has great possibilities. Although he had this issue with the not right papaya, on this episode. Not right, Papaya. Tastes like crap. I think he's doing good. And I see him getting really far in the game. So he's an 8.
Awesome. Lauren, what do you think?
All right, so I have Ricard at a 7. I think Ricard is shaping up to be in a really, really good position in this game. What I will say is I think Ricard is a savvy enough player to pick up some people that have been on the outs and creating allies with them. Because if Ricard wants to win this game, Ricard needs to get out Shan sooner rather than later, because I think what hurts Ricard's game is the back and forth bickering amongst each other, and therefore making it more difficult to solidify those other extra alliances. And so if Ricard is able to scoop up a couple of people that have potentially been on the bottom and make a move, I think Ricard sits in an excellent spot. And I do think Ricard has good people skills and is someone that has a high potential to win this game.
Yeah.
So you had him at a 7 or 8, Lauren?
7.
Oh, cool. All right. 2 more to go. And let's talk about his partner in crime that has not necessarily been the best partner. Let's talk about Shan. Lyrsa, you want to start it with Shan?
I'm going to give Shan a 7 because I feel that the move and conversations that she had this past episode are going to come and bite her in the ass. She is controlling the game, but a good player lets other talk. They listen and they find a way to always get their way in the end, but they let others feel that they've been listened, and she's not doing that. So I feel that she is very compromised getting into the next episode.
Okay. Lauren, what about you?
So I have Shan at a 6. Another reason being Shan still has an idol in her pocket, so she has a little bit of that power there. But what I will say is I think if Shan for a vote can take a step back, let someone else push the vote, then Shan sits in a really good position. If we keep seeing Shan continue to push what her motive is, I think that's where Shan's going to get in trouble. And so if she's able to say to herself, you know, I'm going to take a step back, let someone else lead it, therefore them thinking that I'm following them, when in actuality, somewhat still being able to get what I want at the end of the day, I think then Shan is going to find herself in a better position than she is now.
All right. I have Shan at a 7 for pretty much a lot of what you two said, so I'm not going to ramble over it, but we all agree, she's kind of overplaying at this point. She still has good control. But the fact that 2 of her top 3 allies have relationships that are worsening and not improving concerns me. But she still has an idol and an extra vote, right?
No, Ricard has that.
Ricard, oh, yeah, okay, she gave it back to him. All right, so correct right there. But she has the idol, which is honestly more powerful. And yeah, I don't know. My winner pick is not making me look great right now, but there's still time for a turnaround, and I think she can. But last but not least is good old Xander. All right. What do I have to say about Xander? I have him at a 4, honestly, and I'm a little surprised not lower. I'm not lower because he still has the idol and the extra vote. But he just can't seem to shake this massive target on his back. And I think the next episode, with him being on a chart of 5, I just don't think it's good for him. Whether he goes home or not, I think he has to play one or both of his advantages to stay if he doesn't win immunity. And so I think he either comes out of the episode either gone without an idol or advantage, and or he's a massive target. So I don't think any of that is good for him. But I still think he has a little bit of strategic acumen and is still pretty likable. So that's why I'm at a 4. Lauren, what do you think?
I have Xander at a 5 simply because having those 2 advantages is very crucial, especially as the numbers continue to dwindle. And what I will say is I think Xander sitting out of the immunity challenge was pretty good because I think he would have been a strong contender to win that challenge potentially, therefore lowering his threat level a little bit, and maybe the eyes aren't necessarily on him going into the next episode. But the thing is, you have to have allies in this game, and I do think it was beneficial for Xander to at least have been chatting with people prior to that tribal council, whereas we didn't see Evie talking really to anybody. So Xander is still having those relationships.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 5, mostly because he still has advantages, but he needs to talk to other people. I feel that he is a strong competitor and plays it like putting himself in like giving the spot to Erica and all that might have helped him being seen differently. But I feel that if it's not on the next episode, maybe on the other one, he'll be out.
All right. Well, that concludes the ratings. All right. One last thing. Lauren, do you have anything you want to add about the episode? And my question is, pick 2 people to go who are going home. You think next round?
Before I pick those 2 people, Lyrsa, did you say who your winner pick was?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, my winner picks is between Ricard and Evie.
Pick one. Who is it?
You got to pick one.
Fuck no, I don't want to. Okay, I'm gonna pick Evie.
Ooh, all right. I like it.
I'm gonna pick Evie.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in both of them. All right, Lauren, who's going home?
Well, I have to pick. Here's the issue, because I haven't seen that preview yet, and I'm not gonna look at it because I know it says like who the 2 groups
No,
are.
I don't. I made my picks without taking that into account. So
You made the picks without taking that into account.
yeah, I have
Okay.
them down after, so in case we discuss.
So I will give my picks on who I think is actually in trouble. I know we all rated Heather low, but I don't think Heather's in trouble to go home on this
Ooh, okay.
episode. I do think that she's going to get by another round. So I guess the 2 people, I think, if you want to take a shot at someone that might not see it coming, I would say maybe Nasir could be in trouble potentially on the next episode. And then another person that I could see having an issue could maybe be Erica.
Okay.
Those are mine too.
Interesting. All right, so I'm gonna go off the boomer. Like I said, I think Heather's in trouble. I think a Trevor 5 does not help Heather. I think it hurts her. Really, it hurts anybody who's a big target at this point, which is why I don't love this idea that they do all the time. But you know what? We'll see how it breaks out. So Heather's my 1, and my other, I almost feel like it could be Xander's time. Xander, I think Erica and Nasir are both. Those would probably be my other 2 people. But yeah, that's probably where I'm at. Any final thoughts from either one of you?
So that's all I have. We dug deep into this episode and definitely got some great behind the scenes. Yeah. Lyrsa, seriously, thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Anytime.
Lyrsa, this was so much fun. I can't thank you enough. I've not laughed this much in a long time. And yeah, all right. So before we wrap up, just want to plug a couple of things here going on at NSFW. If you want to become a patron, support all the awesome content that Lauren and I are doing, and Johnny, Matt, and Trias are doing, as well as everybody else, go to adfreensfw.com and become a patron. You get access to a Q&A with Johnny and Matt, where they will talk about anything, literally anything. As you can maybe imagine, they're doing Australian Survivor coverage week by week, which is also something to behold, let me tell you. Lauren, our buddy Alex Trias, Johnny, and Matt are doing coverage of the challenge each week. That is dropping on Thursdays, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so challenge coverage for season 37 is on Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then also, starting tomorrow, Johnny, Alex Trias, and myself will be covering Challenge All-Stars. That is on Paramount Plus. We will be talking about episode number 1 tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Nice. And then Wednesday night, talking about 2 boots in 1 hour of Survivor will be likely Johnny Fairplay, Matt Bischoff, and Alex Trias once again, or some combo of those people. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. Lyrsa and Lauren, you're my amazing co-host. Thank you for doing this with me and let me do this nonsense. Lyrsa, I don't know how you do it, but thank you for doing this with us. I've had such a blast.
I love doing this.
We love you, and I cannot wait to meet. It's happening. I'm seeing you in Boston one day.
Yes, definitely.
All right. To everybody who listened, thank you so much. Yeah. Check out Reality NSFW on YouTube and your local podcatcher, and have a great one. Bye.
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 Ho, 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 gentlemen! The holidays have come early here at Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand. Manscaped just launched new products, including their ultra new, ultra premium body wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give yourself or someone who needs it the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use promo code SURVIVOR for 20% off and free shipping.
Jingle balls to the walls. Fellas, listen up. Untrimmed pubes are a thing of the past, and it's possible you have Santa's beard in your pants. Could be Matt Bischoff's. It's time to leave your significant other some cookies and milk at the bottom of your chimney. I am talking about Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Oh, now, I had a lot of sex when I got back from my last appearance. I literally had sex 8 times in 12 hours. And, I did some damage down there, fellas. I did some serious damage. I had to call my doctor. There was swelling. There was everything else. It was bad. But you know what wasn't bad? My balls, because I shaved them with Manscaped. Oh, there was the lighting at the top of the tree, but the bottom of the tree looked perfect.
Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer has proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to reduce cuts on your nuts. It's also waterproof, so you can use it in the shower. It's like a gift to your partner with less mess. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, and toner. It's time to keep your North Pole feeling and smelling fresh.
This hygiene bundle will also come with a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxers. God bless it. I needed and used that this week. I promise you. The perfect package for your perfect package. Manscaped is going beyond the groin with their new ultra premium body wash. It's infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized.
They also just launched their new 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which has key ingredients with benefits that include hydrating, nourishing, conditioning the scalp, and strengthening your hair at the same time. 'Tis the season to load up on Manscaped products. So get yourself, your dad, your brother, your friends, your neighbor, the best gift of all, the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Reality NSFW listeners get 20% off and free shipping with the code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. Every guy out there needs to add Manscaped to their wish list this holiday season.
This is Santa Claus talking to you once again. Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. That is 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use promo code SURVIVOR. Clean up your nuts and make Santa proud this year.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. And it's amazing as a midnight snack right before bed.
0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories per serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and my favorite, maple waffle. Now, Magic Spoon recently brought back their 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle. Thank goodness. But they're back permanently. And when these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they sold out extremely quickly. Now, I'm here to let you know you can get them again or try them for the first time. Why? Because they're delicious and indulgent.
Johnny, Magic Spoon has so many great flavors that I really enjoy, and even my kids enjoy them. We have the cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter. All these are really great combinations. They enjoy waking up in the morning and getting some Magic Spoon right off to start their day great before they head off to school. I think everybody listening should give Magic Spoon a try, or if you've tried them already, it's time to reorder. Let's get you some more Magic Spoon and get your day started right.
Hey, when I finish a podcast late at night, the first thing I'm thinking is not sleep. It's let me grab a delicious bowl of Magic Spoon before I go to bed.
So go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code survivor at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use the code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this podcast.